Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the commentary team for the final BIKC event of the day, and we are up to the super heavyweights. And as ever, I'm here with my trusty companion, Tom Gibson, in the commentary box. And Tom, this one looks like being equally as awesome as the other three. It has the potential to be even better than the three we have already had, but that will take some doing.
Yeah, there's a very high bar been set by the three classes we've had so far. Obviously, we run the featherweights, we run the lightweights, we run the heavyweights. Now it's the time of the super heavyweights, and you know me, I love going through the results and seeing how close the field is. This is probably the closest one we've had for a long time. Look at the results here. The top 9 in practice that has just come off the circuit is separated by just half a second. Now, we've had the top 9, top 10 separated by a second. We've just halved that gap with the super heavies.
Indeed, it looks really, really close. I think that we are in for some really, really competitive racing. And the last 3 events that we've done have really stood out for us struggling, or let's get it right actually, me struggling to pick the winner. I suppose that would probably happen anyway, but it could have been a number of drivers in the previous event, and absolutely superb racing, and we want to see more of the same.
Yeah, as we said with Lex up in the studio, it's literally been a case of, in that last race, any one of 5 drivers could have won that heading into the last couple of laps, and then the entire field just imploded over the course of about 2 minutes. And it just goes to show how quickly everything can change in the BIKC. Nothing is certain until the checker flag has fallen.
Indeed. And just to go through the format here, we've just finished the practice, so all drivers have been out there and have got accustomed to the grip levels. They've driven the latest fleet of brand new Biz karts that are being used exclusively for this BIKC weekend. We have another day of BIKC racing coming up tomorrow, so if you're in and you want some entertainment, we can entertain, Tom, I think.
I'm pretty sure we can entertain. We've also got some really entertaining racing going on. Probably the closest stuff we'll see all weekend, with the under-18s having their shot at becoming a British indoor karting champion. But yeah, this next one, it's set up to be an absolutely fantastic battle, and I genuinely cannot wait to get the heat started.
So let's go through what's going to happen. We have 2 sets of drivers, and each set of drivers will compete in 3 heats. So there's going to be 6 heats in total, and the drivers in the heats will just compete amongst themselves. So we will split. We will literally keep the 2 groups separate. Then we will get to the semi-finals, and then basically it is a race to get to the grand final, obviously, and the top 8 drivers from each semi-final will go through and qualify for the grand final. We will run the grand final, and then we will once again declare another British indoor karting champion of 2020. Now, we started this. How many days, Tom? We've been on about this all day. I do apologize if anybody has heard us say this. Perhaps we should do it as a competition, as well as the lap down lottery. But how many days has it been since we started the BIKC 2020? Tom, what's the answer?
So these guys have been waiting 339 days to be able to get on the grid tonight, and they've gone through qualifying, they've gone through the local finals, they've gone through a massive wait to get through the regionals, and now they're here at Warrington, and we're ready to crown our British indoor karting champion, the last one for the day, and the first one for the super heavyweight class.
You hear that? 6,432 days since the competition started.
It feels like that long.
That's how it feels, indeed, absolutely. So we're set. Now what's going to happen here is the drivers are just getting seated inside the karts for the first heat. They will leave the pit lane. Then they will form up on a grid, which is directly as they drive outside of the pits. They'll receive some instructions, and we will move them around into the grid position. They will then set off, and basically whoever's in pole position acts as the pace kart. And as they drive very steadily around the circuit, or not very steadily, as we had a little bit earlier on today, but we soon sorted that out, they will go across the main straight there, underneath the big Dunlop bridge. And as they go underneath that, the lights will change from red to green. And when they change from red to green, we are racing. So we can't wait. Here we go. The drivers are already in the pit lane, and also there's a lot of support out there, in actual fact. And I can do a few shout-outs, actually, while we are just waiting. So here we go. Now, there is a bit of a common theme, I would say, to some of these shout-outs, but I'll go through them anyway. So we've got Mrs. Jollypop says, good luck to Mitch Sieber. We've got Diana Lee. Here comes the bit where there's a bit of a link between some of these people. Good luck, Kane. From Hull, come on. Yes, like it. Ryan Cook says, come on, Taylor. Adam Chin, also from Team Sport Hull, says, let's go, Kane. Sarah Lang, also, funny enough, Team Sport Hull, says, let's go, Kane. Jay Jones, let's go, Kane. Eloise Smith, come on, Kane. Yep, you've got it. Still Hull. There we go. Damage IQ, go and smash it, Kane. I don't know who Damage IQ is, but you know what? I would put probably about 500 quid on the fact they are from Hull. But there we go. So we've got, who else? Vanessa Upton. Here we go. A little bit of dive, a little bit of change. Good luck, Darren Wilson. Indeed. We've got Matt Clough, who said Lex and the crew have done amazing. Thanks, Matt. No mention of the commentary team, but fair enough. We can overlap that. I've got you one-to-one probably in the next few weeks, so hey-ho. And yeah, fantastic. And somebody did ask about how many drivers have actually entered into BIKC this year. And yeah, very hard to trace, but around about 2,000 have entered. So we are literally dealing with the absolute best of the best here, Tom, is what I would say.
Yeah, every single driver that's made it here has had to go through a rigorous process to even get on the grid tonight. There was qualifying back in July, August, September of 2020. Then early October we had the local finals where they all did a 15-minute qualifying and a 15-minute race. Then the early part of this year, when we were allowed to reopen, we got the regional finals done, and today we're here to round off the entire competition and crown the last of the over 18s British Indoor Karting Champions. As you can see, the first heat is up on the grid, and we're going to run quickly through the starting order. Pole position is hometown hero Warrington driver Reese Basley, who has pole position. Adrian Jones alongside him, Rob Bowes and Ollie Severs alongside on row 2. Wesley Carr, Adam Jackson, Aidan Finn, Sam Dixon, Jason Ford, Jack Tate, Ben Wilson, Ryan Hughes and Craig Tucker completes the 13-kart field as they move away from the line on the first attempt at getting this race going. Now remember, we've already seen a false start today. We don't want to see it again. Nice slow pacing speed. Looks a little bit quick at the moment, so I think we may end up sending them around again. Reese controlling the pace as they come under the Dunlop Bridge. It's going to be down to our starter as to whether we get this race going. Looking at the lights go green. We're racing. Really good start from the pole man Reese Basley as they go under the Dunlop Bridge the first time, but it looks like Rob Bowes is trying to go down the inside in the 16. We'll have to see how they come out of the other side. And it looks like Reese still holding on to the lead as they go under the bridge and get ready to head up onto the flyover for the first time. So Reese leads Rob there in the 16 in second place as they're all going 2 by 2. Adrian Jones now running in third place in the 3 karts. So 4, 16 and 3 are your top drivers. They file around the flyover for the first time, head down the short ramp, through the hairpin, go through the double left-hander and get ready to fly through the fastest corners in indoor karting. Basley leads on his home turf.
Okay, an absolutely outstanding start from Reese Basley, who from pole position has gone absolutely straight into the lead. Literally laying down the marker. This is what I want to do. I want to become BIKC champion. I'm starting from pole. I've got to make it count. Boom. Absolutely brilliant. And as they go through, we've got Robert Bowes in second, we've got Adrian Jones in third, Wesley Carr in fourth, Ollie Sabers in fifth, Aidan Finn in sixth, Adam Jackson 7th, Sam Dixon in 8th, Jason Ford in 9th, Craig Tucker 10th, Ryan Hughes in 11th, Jack Tate in 12th and Ben Wilson in 13th at the moment. Gap to the lead is 1.3 seconds.
Yeah, as they flew up the ramp that time, a little bit of barrier contact there from the 3 of Adrian Jones. Looks like they're just pushing a little bit, but you can already see the gap that Basley's built as he's getting ready to head down the ramp. with Robert Bowes just behind. Robert's not exactly a slow driver. He's got a bit of experience around this circuit from memory. I believe he's a Liverpool qualifier off the top of my head. But heading down in towards T1, Basley's absolutely checked out. We've got a decent little fight. Car backwards. That looks like that was the 14 of Ollie Severs that's gone the wrong way. It's been spun around. So yeah, Ollie Severs, disaster there from 5th place. So he's lost a whole host of time as the leaders now come over the line. We'll have to see where he filters back out. I've got a feeling it's going to be way outside the top 10.
Now, I'm not part of the team that looks at the VAR, but I think that was his own fault there. He literally went for a gap that didn't really exist. He clipped the driver in front, and then the car just lost control, and it just spanned completely around. So even though he's dropped back, it'll be interesting to see what James Hislop, clerk of the course, makes of that one, to be honest. But Rhys Basley is now really stretching his lead up to 2.1 seconds at the moment with 2 laps completed.
Yeah, it looks like the fight for second is really starting to hot up between the 16 and the 7. Bowes versus Carr as they go into T1. They're just flying through shot there. The grey suit and the black and blue trying to go side by side. Bowes has it covered at the moment. The 7's going to try and go for the cutback. Go side by side through the S's. You can't really go side by side through here, but he's made the overtake. Fantastic move by Wesley Carr to take over 2nd place at a very brave point in the circuit. We've said it before us. This circuit really does reward the brave, and a fantastic move by Wesley Carr.
Now, we have seen some absolutely fantastic moves today, and that one is right up there with the best. Absolutely brilliant stuff, really working to bring that opportunity to him, and then he just made it stick. Absolutely brilliant, up to 2nd place. Wesley Carr is a very early favourite, I would say. If he's going to continue driving like that, we have got to keep an eye on him.
Yeah, if you pull brave moves like that in these early stages of the competition, you can already see he's pulled a couple of kart lengths over Rob Bowes already. The question is, can he make any inroads into the lead that Rhys Basley has? When they crossed the line the last time, it was 3.8 seconds. It's going to be interesting to see what it is when they come across the line. Basley does have the fastest lap of the race, a 61.199. As they go across the line, we wait to see what the gap is between the top 2. It's 4.5 seconds after that move. So if Carl wants to do anything about Basley, he's going to have to get his head down.
Okay, here we go. Now we're 4 laps in. This is going to be a 7-lap race. We still have number 4, Rhys Basley is leading, and look at that lead, 4.5 seconds. I mean, I do know obviously that Wesley Carr's had to fight his way through the field, but after 4 laps to have a lead of 4.5 seconds is absolutely epic, it has to be said. And Wesley Carr now just stretching away from Robert Bowes ever so slightly. I would even say at this moment that Wesley Carr not really under any pressure from Robert Bowes, who's got his invisible mirrors full of driver number 3, Adrian Jones.
Yeah, as they drop through the top end of the circuit, Bowes is currently hanging on to 3rd position. Looking at him on stream now, the 16 car has the number 3 just behind. Looks like there's a change for position. He tried to go side by side. That looked like a decent move for the gent in the blue helmet. That is the 28 of Adam Jackson to take over 4th position and train his sights on the back of Rob Bowes' 16 cart. But with a couple of laps left to go, lap 5 of 7 here at Team Sport Warrington for the opening heat, it looks like no one's going to be able to get on terms with the carts in front, as the gap for the lead now 5.1 seconds. Basley's absolutely flying out in front. Further behind though, you've still got this massive train fighting over what I believe is 4th place, with Adam Jackson out in front.
Yeah, here we go. We've got just over 1 lap to go. And Rhys Basley looks really ready to have this one completely in the bag. Wesley Carr 2nd, Robert Bowes 3rd, Adam Jackson 4th, Adrian Jones 5th, and Aidan Finn. Fastest lap so far is 61.199, which is a good effort, I would say, for this, how early it is in the competition. It's a decent effort. Rhys Basley really laying down the marker to the other drivers, saying, if you want to beat me, this is what you're going to have to do. If you look at the fastest lap times, it's well clear of the other drivers. Wesley Carr has got a 7.43, so 0.6 of a second there. So he is he's pushing. He is pushing.
Yeah, as they come through on the final lap, Bose now has a lot of pressure from Adam Jackson just going up the ramp. They got the gents of the blue helmet, Jackson pushing on against the gents of the grey suit, which is Robert Bose flying through pictures. They head now down the small ramp and get ready to go down the final ramp, down the main straight for the final time in this heat. The marshals are ready with the checker flags. A little look back from Bose there. He knows that he's got pressure coming up in these final couple of corners. Will we see a dive down the inside at T1? Jackson thinks that discretion at this point is the better part of valor, but coming across the line, the first win of the heat goes away of Reese Basley. A dominant performance from the hometown driver. Wesley Carr is going to come across the line in second place. Bose hangs on for third place against Adam Jackson. Adrian Jones in fifth. Aidan Finn in sixth. Jason Ford crosses the line in seventh place. Sam Dixon, Craig Tucker, Ryan Hughes, Jack Tate, Ollie Severs after that spin does come home in 12th place, rounding out the 12 cars that did take to the grid.
Yeah, it's just a brilliant race for Reese Basley. He just made it stick from the word go and absolutely got those laps in. Got those laps in, fastest lap by a country mile, and that is literally the first marker down in the sand to say, yeah, that's the standard that we're going to have throughout these races. And it'll be very interesting to see what Reese can actually do in his second and third heat, when he's going to start near the back and is going to have to do a lot of overtaking. So really interesting stuff, I would say.
Yeah,
the first race.
Another thing I noticed, as he was coming down the ramp, he was sort of shaking his hands, so definitely an indication that he's not taking it early in this early stage of the heat. Sometimes it can be quite easy to lull yourself into a sense of, I'll get through the heat and then I'll see where we are for the final. No, he's not in that mode. He's on full attack straight away.
He is. And already we've got the second heat that is already on the grid and is just receiving a little bit of instruction from the pit marshal there before they will be set off on their way once again for the, here we go, for the short trip round to start finish. That should be done. That's a very slow space. And yes, we've seen this all day. In fact, they're speeding up a bit. I thought it was going to be really slow. But no, they are speeding up a little bit. I think they want to get on with it. And here we go. We've got 17 and 19 that are absolutely neck and neck.
The lights go green and we're racing.
Go.
So down the inside, looks like the 19 just hangs on at the front of the field. Look from the front row as they all file through. So far, it looks like everyone has got through nice and cleanly. 17 is tucked in underneath behind them as we take a look. The 19 there leading the way is Darren Wilson in the orange helmet, then 80 there in the 17 just behind him in the white just behind. You've also got a few drivers that have quite a lot of track time around here. James Troop has spent a lot of time practicing in the 9. He's now running in 5th place. He's lost a place to the 12 at James Dixon Joel as they drop down the ramp for the first time.
Again, a little bit of contact there on top of the mezzanine section as they fly into the fastest part of the course. We've got driver number 19, Darren Wilson, who's made a brilliant start from second on the grid to absolutely storm into the lead, and we have got 17 Aid, who's currently in second position. So yeah, solid start for those two drivers. They've switched position, but they look to be comfortably ahead of the rest of the drivers at the moment. A solid gap.
Oh, what car's off in the barriers there? That looks like that was the 17 that has spun off. No, it's the 12. We go yellow here at Team Sport Warrington. The 12 trying to recover himself. That's James Dixon Joel that has found his way into the barriers. Not quite sure how that happened, but he is getting recovered by the marshals. We will get back to green flag racing, but that has ruined that first heat for James Dixon Joel.
And we have had a couple of incidents there, haven't we? And we're green already, absolute green already. Yeah, no time for yellows or anything like that. Let's get this racing going. So Darren Wilson once again leading, Aid second, Joel is in third. The timing assistant says James Dixon Joel, but in fact, no, we know that he's going to clock up in last place. So James Troop is going to go through into 4th position at the moment. Let's see what happens when they cross over the start-finish line.
Yeah, as they head through the final hairpin, it is still Darren Wilson out in front in the 19. Looks like he's starting to build a little bit of a gap over the 17 of 80 there with Joel with Joel in the 2 coming up just behind James Troop. Now moves up to 4th. Darren Stables up to 5th as James Dixon Joel jots right down to the back of the leaderboard. He's got a lot of work to do in his other 2 heats to try and salvage a decent result here tonight.
So here we go, still number 19, Darren Wilson, very, very smooth, going on to the up ramp there. And we have seen this all day, that as soon as a driver hits the front, the whole driving style changes and they suddenly become much smoother, and they're much more concerned about where they place their kart on the circuit, rather than absolutely going for a really, really fast lap time. And again, we got more contact there on the mezzanine. I think it's number 26 there. I think it was Damien Smith. Bit of minor contact. We do have VAR here, believe it or not. Now, I know in football VAR has got a really bad press, but let me tell you, in indoor karting, it is absolutely magnificent, because we can literally look at everything from several angles and really find out who is at fault. Oh, that unbelievable. Number 1, Darren Stables, slinging it up the inside, just hurling his kart forwards. Yeah, and contact made, and I don't think he gained the position there, but you've got to be careful here, because if you get a black and white flag, you lose 1 point. Okay, lose a point, big deal. Guess what? If you get another one, you don't get another point, you get a 5-second penalty. If you look at these drivers coming round now, imagine a 5-second penalty. It's the kind of thing that would move you from maybe 3rd to about 10th. There's just a massive number of places that you would lose and a massive number of points. So these drivers, they've got to keep it clean, or they simply won't be winning the competition.
Yeah, at the moment, the battle for 4th is being very hard for James Troop in the 9 car, just ahead of Darren Stables. They come over the line. They've got a little bit of a gap to Joel, who sat there in 3rd well through our Dunlop 2 corner. Kane Brown, who has quite a bit of support from the guys over at Team Sport Hull. He's currently running in 9th place. He's just at the back of this field, of this pack, as they come through at the bottom of the ramp. James Troop again in 9, trying to fend off Stables in the 1. That was where a little bit of contact came in, and a little bit more as they go onto the mezzanine section. And the 27 of Lewis Fazlodin, one of James Hislop's calls for a decent result today. Very quick driver from Team Sport Cardiff, sat in 6th place with the reputation he has amongst the guys here. I don't expect him to be staying there very long.
Now, Lewis there in 6th place was the clerk of the course, James Hislop's tip for victory. So we got a lot of drivers getting tipped for victory here. I mean, as you've already said, that, you know, we've got Lewis, and then obviously we've got Team Sport Hull, who are absolutely backing their man Kane Brown there to do the business.
Oh, 18 to the inside there. That looked like Kevin Warner on the inside of Lewis there. Maybe a little bit of a touch as they headed through Dunlop 2. Lewis, though, just hanging on side by side as they go under the tunnel section. Around the outside, Kevin Warner trying to hold the position. Looks like he might have actually managed to get it done. No, Lewis is held on. Now you've got 5 karts side by side as you go up the ramp. Yeah,
this is going to be a bit chaotic, because there are 5 drivers, and they were absolutely bumper to bumper down. Round they go onto the little downward hairpin that they go around now, and then they got another left-hander before they start sweeping down the hill and charging through the fast sweeping corners on the way down to the fastest part of the circuit. Here they come. Are we going to see an instant here? They're absolutely hard on the brakes, turning in round the hairpins. I think we switched to driver number 2, which is Joel Arguilas.
Yeah, he's being chased hard by James Troop. Troop was actually quite a way back. He's managed to catch up quite quickly, but fastest lap of the race does belong to Darren Wilson, who is out in front, leading this one as we're now on the final lap of the opening heat for this group of drivers.
Here we go, fastest lap is 1:01, that's 61.191 seconds. So Darren Wilson really putting in those lap times in a very similar way to what we saw in Heat 1. So there's definitely nobody at the moment who looks like they're going to absolutely go and run away with this. But let's see how this story develops. Checker flag is out, and the next driver that crosses it is going to win the race, and it should very much be Darren Wilson, as he's hanging on there. He's got less than a second over number 17, Aid. But here he comes.
Yeah, over the start-finish line, win of heat number 2 goes the way of Darren Wilson, along with the fastest lap, the 17 of 8 comes home in second place, just on the line. Joel in the 2 comes home P3. James Troop has to settle for 4th position after a really good recovery there. Changing on the line, though, Darren Stables comes home 5th, Kevin Warner in 6th. And yeah, Russ, that was a fantastic way to start heat number 2.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. So all drivers have now had a practice. All drivers have also been out for the first of their heats. So this is the time where they've got to step up. If they've got any butterflies now, this is the first kind of race that's done. They've only got 2 more heats, and these heats are super important. The points that you get for good finishes here will really boost your semi-final grid position. And we've seen absolutely all day, the grid position is crucial. It sounds obvious. You do get a little bit of movement. You do get drivers maybe moving up a grid place or 2 on the start, but really, if you want to win this race, the ultimate prize, if you want to become the BIKC champion, you really have got to be starting this race from one of the top 3 positions, I would say, in the final.
Yeah, that's what we've seen so far. All of the winners so far have come from within the top 5. I think the closest fight we've seen so far was in the heavyweight final, where I would say up to 5 drivers could have taken the win at any one time. Now, though, we're taking a look at heat number 3. The drivers are in carts, leaving the pit lane now, and the grid has just popped up. So, for heat number 3, let's take a look through the runners and riders. Ryan Hughes is going to go off pole position. The 14 of Craig Tucker will go off P2, joining them on the front row. Adam Jackson, Adrian Jones on row number 2. Sam Dixon, Jason Ford on row 3. Aidan Finn and Ben Wilson off 7th and 8th. Heat 1 winner Reese Basley will go off P9. Jack Tate will go off 10. Rob Bowes, who had a decent run, will start in 11th place. Wesley Carr will start 12th. Ollie Severs, who had a spin in that first encounter, will complete the grid of 13 karts, ready to do battle for this second heat for this group.
Okay, here we go once again, just setting up on the grid. And obviously the grid order completely jumbled up from what happened, what the grid was, in actual fact, in the very first heat. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see how some of these drivers are able to cope with it, I would say.
Yeah, so we saw what Reese could do off pole position. He's going off P9, so now we get a chance to see what Ryan Hughes and Craig Tucker can do off the front of the grid. The drivers head off on their pacing lap, and speed looks good to me, Russ.
Indeed, and it can be done. We had a driver in the very first event that we had this morning who started virtually last, I believe, in one of the heats, and came through to win it in some absolutely brilliant overtaking. So it definitely can be done. We're looking for a green, and we've got it. We have got it, and I think that it's going to be number 14 in turn 1 first, because he seemed to get a better start away. We're going to see that. We're going to confirm that now. But it is, yes, 14. Craig Tucker goes into the lead. Number 7, Ryan Hughes, didn't get a bad start, but it just simply wasn't as good as Craig Tucker, who went flying off the line.
Yeah, Hughes had to settle for second for the moment, and dropping around the top section of the flyover. Beautiful shot of the circuit, showing quite a lot of the venue here at Team Sport Warrington as they fly down the flyover for the first time of asking. It's still Tucker that leads. Hughes is there in second place. The drivers now file towards the top hairpin. Looks like we're going to have a move for second place. Not quite close enough to go for it. That is the 20 of Sam Dixon, running third at the moment. Started in P5, so he's up a couple of positions already. It looks like Adam Jackson in the 13, running 4th position just behind.
And number 20 there's Sam Dixon making minor contact there and lifting his hand to acknowledge it. It still doesn't make it right, I have to say, but at least he's sorry for it, you know what I mean? So at least the driver's got a little bit of manners at the moment. Yeah, I made a slight touch there, really, really sorry. Let's see what James Hislop thinks of this. James Hislop has had a long day. He's seen a lot of contact. I wouldn't be doing that. I just wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, admitting it doesn't necessarily mean that it is right one driver, though. It did have a decent start. Reese Basley up to 6th from 9th on the grid. But we're looking at the 20 at the moment. Sam Dixon, he's got Adam Jackson, Aidan Finn. just behind him as they drop down. The 7 and the 13 are no sale. That's Ryan Hughes. So Hughes has fallen down the order. Not sure what's going on there.
And here you go. There's some really close drivers here. And again, it is Basley once again who is looking like a little bit of a star of this race as well. He's already made up 3 positions and he's absolutely number 6 all over the back of driver number 7, Ryan Hughes, who seems to have fallen down quite considerably.
Yeah, Hughes was running in second place. They're now running down in P4. So they've been jumped by Sam Dixon in the 20 and Adam Jackson in the 13. So not entirely sure what's gone on there. Fastest lap at the moment belongs to Sam Dixon as they fly up onto the flyover. The 6 and the 7, nose to tail. The 3 and the 22 are extremely close into this as well. The smart move here, though, I reckon, will be for Basley and Hughes to try and work together to maybe make some inroads into Adam Jackson. That gap's not massive, but it is, if you can work together and make it up, it makes life so much easier when you approach the back of them.
Yeah, here we go. We got 14 defending from 20 here. Craig Tucker really was looking more behind him than in front of him as he came onto that down run. Real defensive driving here. Real defensive driving for number 14, Craig Tucker. And look at this, number 20, Sam Dixon, absolutely all over him. He's gone very wide. He's going to get a much better turn, and he just flies past him. Absolutely fantastic. That is how a
good run through T2 and carried the speed through T3 to inherit the lead. Fantastic move there from the 20 of Sam Dixon to get past Craig Tucker, but Tucker's not exactly a slow driver. He's not going to take that line down, and Adam Jackson as well is going to see that car has just been overtaken. He's going to think, I fancy a bit of that action as well.
Yeah, awesome stuff. That's one of the moves of the day, I would say. That was so clear-cut, and he whistled past him. There was absolutely nothing that number 14, Craig Tucker, could do. So awesome. Adam Jackson currently running, we believe, in 3rd place, but is, in fact, number 14, Craig Tucker, has fallen back, and Adam Jackson is now also lining up a move, and as well as Sam Dixon, in the space of 1 lap or so,
straight down the inside,
second lead.
Jackson up to second by the looks here. Fantastic dive down the inside of Dunlop 2. So in the space of 2 laps, Craig Tucker's gone from the lead. He's now down into 3rd place. Basley behind is up into 5th, as it looks like we've got a 3-lap penalty for Ben Wilson.
I have never seen a 3-lap penalty at all today for Ben Wilson.
Yeah,
I'm sure more information will come in. Bonus Jones 3 laps. I think we have some strange stuff going on the timing.
My only suggestion is that someone assigned a car incorrectly, but that might be the fix of that one at the moment, though. One car hasn't been assigned incorrectly. Sam Dixon, he's out in front, and he, I believe, is the first driver in this group to get into the 60-second bracket at 60.8, fastest lap of the race.
Brilliant stuff. Absolutely great lap. We are in the heavyweight category, although just to point out, the heavyweight category is only 80 kilograms. So I think I'll definitely be in the heavies. But there we go. Sam Dixon, 5 laps completed. Fastest lap of 60.890, and that is a cracking lap time.
Yeah, for these guys, that is extremely quick. Looking at the fight over 3rd place, with the 14, the 3 and the 6 just behind. So 3 karts fighting over the final podium paying position here as they drop down. That is Tucker, Finn and Basley. Basley just dropped off the back of that one a little bit, making that 2-horse race over 3rd position. Are we going to see a dive down the inside? No, we're going to see a massive defense from Craig Tucker in the 14. He really doesn't want to get overtaken here. The 3 tries to go around the outside. Are we going to see a repeat of a move that costs Tucker the lead? Looks like he goes for it. The 3 just cannot quite get past him. So Finn, Aidan Finn, just not able to get the run out the corner, and what it's done is brought Reece Basley right back into the mix.
And this is the last lap now. We were about to wave the checker flag. It's surely going to be Sam Dixon that comes around to take it, but the difference between that move is the racing line that the driver trying to overtake took just wasn't quite as wide, didn't have quite as much momentum, and therefore couldn't just sail past that driver had a little bit more speed, but not enough to make it count.
Yeah, looking at this, Basley's managed to get past. Basley's managed to get past Finn there on this final lap. But we wait to see our leader, the number 20, who is going through the top section of the circuit now. The fastest driver in the class so far. Sam Dixon comes through the final couple of corners, and he's going to record a heat win. So far, we're 3 from 3 for different heat winners. Checker flag flies. Your winner there, Sam Dixon, takes the victory in heat number 3. Across the line is the 13 in second place, Adam Jackson. Craig Tucker comes home in third. We reach Basley from 9th, coming home in 4th place, just taking it away from Aidan Finn, who completes the top 5.
Great racing, absolutely superb. Some top-notch overtaking, some great defensive driving, different racing lines going into the fastest part of the course, and yeah, great stuff. And that was heat 3 done and dusted. And start of the show, I still think Reece Basley there started 9th, finished 4th. Of all the drivers we're trying to pick out to see who is potentially going to be the champion, I'd say Reece is probably near the top of that list, I would say, Tom.
Yeah, honestly, being a Warrington driver, I'm always going to agree with that one. But you cannot count out the likes of Sam Dixon there. That is a fantastic run he's just had to take a massive lead, about 4.5 seconds, and the fastest driver in this category so far, the only one to break the 61-second barrier.
Excellent stuff. And here we go, right, we've got, this is going to be a big race for all the people over there in Team Sport Hull, who have all messaged to say, yes, Kane, yes, Kane. Well, yes, Kane. Kane is in pole position for the next race, heat number 4. So, Diana, make sure you're tuning in. Here we go. Quite slick on the old changeovers we are now. Karts are already appearing on the grid there before they just get maneuvered into the correct grid positions. And then once again, we will start the rolling start, and around they will go for heat number 4. So we're already halfway through the heats.
Yeah, this section's starting to fly. The guys running this, they've definitely got this down to a fine art, as the drivers already moving off on their formation lap. As we get ready to go racing here, all eyes on Kane Brown. Lots of support for the guy in number 9, the black and orange suit from Team Sport Hull. Alongside him is the number 2 of Lewis. He's one of the Cardiff drivers. Hull versus Cardiff on the front row as they come down the back straights under the Dunlop Bridge. We look to watch for the lights to go green. Keep an eye on them crossing that red line. The lights go green. We're off and racing once again, and it looks like it's the 2 of Lewis Fazlodin that's managed to get the jump on Kane Brown in the opening couple of corners. The 9 versus the 2. You got the 8 up there as well of Joel, who had a really good run early on in the first heat. But the 9, the 2, the 8, the 17 all leading the way as they head up the ramp for the first time. A little bit of contact by the sounds of it.
Okay, another fantastic start. This time, Lewis Fazlodin got off the line extremely well, and great to see. That's where obviously the start is so important. Oh, big contact at the back there. 18, Damien Smith. Let's just check. I think it was 18 but the driver in last place really gave the driver in front a real nudge at the top. Now we do have, have I mentioned it? We've got VAR today.
I'm not entirely sure you've mentioned the VAR, Russ.
Well, let me tell you about it, just in case anybody... no, we do have VAR, and sure, James Hislop, the clerk of the course, is going to have a quick look at that and just see what went on there, because yeah, that looked fairly hard contact, I would say, and it's that driver really flying in again there.
Yeah, so as they come around the bottom hairpin, it's Fazlodin that leaves Brown in second. Argiles and Mandy Pira that come home in 4th. Oh, a little bit of contact by the look of it on the barrier on the run up the hill. Not quite sure which driver it was. Looked like a little bit of barrier contact as they drop now down the bottom section of the circuit. The 9 of Kane Brown. Looks like he is now down in 3rd place. He's lost out to Joel Argiles there in the 8 kart. So Kane falling down to third position at the moment. He's got a former Kart Jams champion in the form of Matthew Mandipera behind him. I believe it's 2019 that he took the crown as the very last champion in Kart Jams before we became BIKC.
Indeed, Kart Champs was a competition that very similar to this has been run for the past 5 or 6 years at Team Sport and has evolved over time to become the magnificent event that we are running tonight. You know, as simple as that. It's been absolutely fantastic. It's grown and grown every single year. And look what we run now. It's absolutely marvellous to watch. The finest drivers in British indoor karting absolutely taking chunks out of each other on the biggest indoor kart racing circuit in the UK. So, yeah. Brilliant.
So with 3 minutes down, it looks like we've got a bit of a breakaway at the moment. Faz Loading is off in the front, and it looks like the top 6 are filing away. Time penalty popped up there for Kevin Warner. 5-second penalty for Kevin Warner. With it coming through that early, it was either maybe for a little bit of contact, or maybe he's crossed the red line. As it looks like the 6 there trying to go for a move. The 17 goes through. Mandipera manages to get through on the 9. So really good move to get up there. Cars step out towards the outside as they file through Dunlop to the 4 in the 17 is pushing really hard here and trying to get as far up the order as they can.
So Jake Milne goes up into 11th position. Now, I just want to make a thing because I got in a bit of trouble earlier on, Tom, because I didn't mention that we had a driver who was racing from Dundee. And we do tonight, and it is Jake Milne. He's racing in 11th position. And it is great to have him here racing with us.
Yeah, it's great to see drivers coming from all corners of the country to compete here at Warrington. Quite a relatively central location for everyone. So the guys from far south and far north, travel times won't be too bad for them.
Indeed. It still is a bit of a trek to Dundee.
I'm not surprised.
It's still a good 4.5 hours, but I get your point, Tom. I get your point. We could be holding this in London. So, yeah, it's looking good at the moment with 4 laps in. Lewis goes over the line, Joel goes over the line, Matthew goes over the line, James, Dixon, Joel having a much better run in this race than before. James Troop in 5th. Oh, Kane Brown down in 6th. Oh, what a Team Sport Hull going to do? Diana is in 6th. It's in 6th.
To be fair, in 7th place is Darren Wilson, who won the previous heat for this group, but he still has the fastest lap, a 61.4, not quite as quick as what he managed in the previous heat, but still showing he has got pace, even though he's not been able to make the inroads he may have wanted up towards the front of the field, but still out in front with an 8-10 gap over Joel in the 8 kart is Lewis Faz Loading from Cardiff.
Honestly, Tom, right, it would not surprise me, right, if Diana has already got in a car, right, and is already driving down here, probably about 90 miles an hour on the motorway, to get here, right, to get Kane and say, oi, sort it out, we're supporting you, and you got to go faster. You're representing Team Sport Hull, and they're winners. They are winners.
Yeah, Team Sport Hull crowned track of the year within Team Sport last year, and honestly, they want to see their driver Kane Brown do exceptionally well, running in 6th place at the moment. There is a couple of laps for him to potentially do something about it, but he's going to have to try and get past James Troop first in the 1 kart. He's not got too far to go, but James Troop has his sights set on James Dixon Joel just in front of him, running P4.
Okay, here we go. 5 laps down there, so. Less than 2 laps to go at the end of this heat, and yeah, Lewis really hasn't put a foot wrong. I mean, he doesn't have the biggest lead over driver number 8, Joel, but you know what? It's a second. That is, in what we've seen today, that isn't bad. That doesn't give you any pressure, is what I would say. With Matthew coming in 3rd place at the moment, we got a time penalty for
So it's a 5-second time penalty for Adrian Ray in kart number 12, also going by the name of Aid on the leaderboard. I believe Diego Savage just altered that just to make our lives that little bit easier, but a 5-second time penalty there for Adrian Ray, dropped him right down towards the back of the field.
So Jake Milne from Dundee goes into 11th place once again. Oh yes. But Lewis is on his final lap, and I said it was comfortable, didn't I? Again, the curse of the commentator. It's great, the curse of the commentator, because anything you want to change, you can just mention. So I've mentioned the fact that Lewis was really comfortable, and suddenly the gap is 0.6 of a second, and Joel has suddenly found a bit more speed.
Yeah, so on the final lap now, the entire top six are all nose to tail, with 7th place Darren Wilson not too far behind, but they are just going to run out of laps as the number 2, Lewis Fazlodin, is going to come through the Dunlop Bridge, through the S's, come across the line and take the checker flag to win heat number 4 here as the field streams across the line. The top 6 in that race separated by 1.8 seconds over the line. If that's heat for us, the final is going to be insane.
Okay, we've got a message from the race control just saying that they love the penalty graphic. To the graphics team, we got down here, they love the graphic. Whatever that means, they love the graphic. So there we go. That is really important to some people, isn't it, Tom? I suppose. But for us, it's just the racing. You know what I mean? It's the racing that means something to us, and other people, graphics. But here you go. We're here for the racing. Lewis Fazludin has just won that race. He did it by half a second. He scores maximum points. And yeah, he's doing really, really well. So that's the second set of heats, I would say, done. So all drivers have got one more heat left. And first up is group number 1. So that makes it heat number 5. And they are already making their way onto the grid. And we will be underway very soon.
Yes, the drivers currently sat in karts while they head out onto grid. We'll just run through the running order for this one. Kart number 3 is going to start on the front row. Wesley Carr is going to be aboard that one. Jason Ford alongside him. Jack Tate and Aidan Finn on row number 2. Ollie Severus on row number 3 alongside Robert Bowes, Craig Tucker, Ryan Hughes, Adrian Jones, Reese Basley, Adam Jackson, Sam Dixon. 2 drivers who've been exceptionally quick and have won heats for us, starting in 10th and 12th position. We stand a good chance here of having 5 different winners by the end of this race.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got some more shout-outs coming in. So we've got Matt Clough, who's just said, Leeds, Leeds, Leeds. Indeed. I'm there saying VR, but there we go. CJB is coming to say, best of luck to my Cardiff teammate, Lewis Fazludin. Well, let me tell you, CJB, that Lewis Fazludin has just won one of his heats, so he is doing well. He's finding his feet very, very nicely indeed. We've got Jamal Akro, just says, Darren, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Jake Sully, amazing job, Sam, best move of the day. Well, hang on, right, we'll be the judge.
Yeah, we'll be the judge of that. We've had some fantastic moves over the course of today.
We've had Paolo on, who says, come on, Kane. Yeah, there's another little theme there. Something to do with Team Sport Hull, but there we go. We've got Kikata Smith, who says, you got this, Kane. Not sure I'd agree with that completely at this moment in time, but yes. It's good he's got fans out. And we've got Matt Clough back on saying, come on, Aid and Darren. And then we got Sebastian Zoltan saying, come on, Adam. So there's a lot of love out there.
Yeah, a lot of love, a lot of support for our drivers. It's great to see that so many people have stuck around and are watching live, considering this is the 4th set of races that we've had today. The support has been absolutely insane for this event as the drivers head out onto the dummy grid for the 5th heat of 6th in the super heavy category, and we're getting towards the closing stage of this event, and it's really shaping up to get quite interesting.
Indeed. So we got heat number 5 that is just being set up on the grid before they'll be set off on their way, and we've got Wesley Carr in pole position, Jason Ford 2nd there on the front row. Jack Tate and Aidan Finn make up the 2nd row. Look at this camera work. That's unbelievable. You don't get that in Formula 1, do you? That's awesome.
Yes, the guys now filtering round the back hairpin, a nice little pacing speed. The drivers all looking around each other, trying to make sure they get the best jump possible. They head towards the line. Looks a little bit quick compared to what we've had before. We look to see if the lights go green. They go green now. We're off and racing for heat number 5 of the super heavy category. Down in towards the first corner, it's Jason Ford who holds the lead in the 14 kart. He's managed to beat Wesley Carr to that position as they file through. Ford in the 14 has a massive run. Looks like the 3 has fallen down. I think that's Aidan Finn in the 23 that's managed to get himself into 2nd place. Correction, Aidan Finn is going straight for the lead.
Brilliant stuff. That's 4th on the grid, straight into the lead on about 5 corners. you just can't argue with that, if I'll be absolutely honest. And I don't think the other drivers knew what was coming through, if I'll be absolutely honest, because it's taken everybody by complete surprise, and everybody's streaming now down through the fastest part of the course, right down to the end of the main straight here. And we've got lots of drivers literally bumper to bumper. Let's see if we're going to have any drivers dive for the inside. Not really, all nicely spread out. A few drivers maybe trying different lines. Number 3, Wesley Carr, was in pole position, trying now on the inside. There's contact, they're side by side. Is he going to make that stick? No, he has to back off. I think if he had have made that stick, I think he probably would have ended up with a penalty, perfectly honest, because there was a little bit of contact that enabled him to draw alongside there. But hey, he's still there, 3rd place.
Yeah, we've said it before, it takes a very brave driver to be able to overtake through the S's, though. We've seen it done already today, so it's not impossible. Oh, contact again between Wesley Carr and Jason Ford. Wesley Carr backs off a little bit, but that's brought the entire field into this one. And it looks like Bowser's managed to get through into 3rd position, so maybe we could be allowed to see at least a warning flag. Looks like time penalty going out for Adrian Jones. I believe that's going to be a start line infringement. Looking at how early that's come through, we may see another one pop up in a minute or two for another driver. But as they drop down, it's the 14 that's still there. And a massive dive bomb from Wesley Carr once again in the 3, trying to get back past Barnes. But what he's actually done, he's just lost the place to the 15 car, to Ollie Severus. Severus from 11th place is now absolutely flying.
Now Wesley Carr is absolutely in the news in this race and gets a black and white flag, and quite rightly so, because on the previous lap that was easily Wesley Carr's fault for the infringement going on to the up ramp. And yes, he has a go, he's having a go, and he tried to get through there, and that's the problem. You commit and it goes wrong, you're so exposed. And there he committed to the move, it didn't quite come off, the door is open, and suddenly he's lost the space and he is down in P4 after 2 laps.
Yes, as drivers all file through now and down the Rob Bowser in 2nd place by the looks of it, as they all file through down into the main straight. Correction, it's Aidan Finn with a mammoth lead at the moment. He's over 3 seconds clear of these guys. That's how hard they've been fighting. The 15 again tries to throw it down the inside of the 3, not quite close enough to do anything about it there. As it looks like you just see Sam Dixon there in the 4. He's trying to get involved in this fight. We're looking behind P11 at the P10 at the moment. Reese Basley's not been able to make heats.
Indeed. So we've got Aidan Finn comfortably in the lead now, 3.2 seconds. And here we go, right? We've got the fastest lap of the race, Tom. This is brilliant. We had this earlier on. Fastest lap of the race by the driver in last place at the moment. Adrian Jones seems to be flying.
Yeah, Adrian Jones in the 11 picked up a penalty early on for what we believe is a start line infringement, as they all fly through the bottom section of the circuit. The 14 of Jason Ford still there in 2nd place. Aidan Finn is away and gone. We'll have to see what the gap is when they come across the start-finish line this time. But at the moment, it looks like we've got 11 karts fighting over 2nd place. The 3 of Wesley Carr is tugged right up under the rear bumper of Robert Bowers as we head into the closing stages of this race. Lap 4 we go on to. I reckon we've probably got about 3 laps to go.
Oh, here, see that? That was 23, I think, alongside. Let me have a quick look. It might be 13, Jack Tate. There's a lot of drivers back there who are absolutely nose to tail, and a lot of moves are being planned out there. And still, the fastest lap is the driver in last place, which is rather unusual. But hey ho, it's one of those races, and we are 4 laps down. So we have less than 3 laps to go to the end of this heat, and still Aidan Finn with an extremely comfortable lead.
Yeah, as they file down, you're looking at Rob Bowers, who has Wesley Carr in the 3 just behind him. We've also got previous heat winner Sam Dixon not too far behind. I think Ryan Hughes, though, has managed to get in between himself and Wesley Carr as they file through the top section of the circuit. The 3 versus the 7. Carr not hanging around. He's trying to go around the outside of Rob Bowers. Bowers knows he's there. He just hangs him out to dry, holds him at arm's length. The 15 is just behind. That is Ollie Severus. For some reason, he's showing right down the order on our timing screen, but we can see that he's right up under the lead battle. Maybe there's a penalty that we may have missed somewhere.
Indeed, very much so. But 5 laps down, just a couple to go, and there's another move going on there. Let's see if that comes off onto the up ramp. It's number 3, number 15.
Yeah, Wesley Carr trying to get past Bowes. He's not able to do it side by side though. Up the top of the circuit.
So that's 15. That's Ollie Sievers, who racing in
16 just forced out. For 16 just forced out into the barrier. Craig Tucker just gets a little bit of a nudge as Rhys Basley goes past as a result of that. Not quite sure what went on there, as once again Wesley Carr trying to go around the outside of Rob Bowes, not able to go for it at the moment, tries to go for the cutback. The 15's in there, Dixon's in there as well. He's not quite able to get the run, just gets into the back of Rob Bowes as we head on to what will be the final lap of this heat, the final chance for these drivers to influence where they're going to start in the semi-final. They're side by side once again. It looks like the 15 is trying to go past. It looks like the 15 has not quite got the place. And now with Adam Jackson trying to go around the outside of Dixon in the 4 as they go up the ramp side by side, not able to pull it off. And the 13 there, Jack Tate now throws it down the inside of that driver. He's not able to go for it. Ryan Hughes is trying to get into this one as well. There's action aplenty in this final heat here at Team Sport Warrington for the first group of these super heavy drivers.
Okay, and Wesley Carr there, he had a great move lined up on the driver in front, but hey, just clipped him as he's trying to go through, and that just lost his momentum. Now we are 6 laps down, and Aidan Finn has been absolutely serenely coasting. There is the checkered flag. There is a win for driver number 23, Aidan Phil, and we're going to have to wait a fair few seconds before Jason Ford comes through to clock in second place, Robert Bowes in third, Wesley Carr in fourth. Very eventful race for Wesley. Sam Dixon in 5th place, Adam Jackson in 6th, Jack Tate in 7th, Ryan Hughes coming home in 8th, Craig Tucker 9th, and Rhys Basley. A poor race for Rhys after the 2 flying heats that he's had earlier on. He couldn't quite back it up with another top line performance, so that's going to hurt his points total. But Ollie Sievers there in 11th, and Adrian Jones comes in at the back in 12th.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that result does play with his points as the field now files back into the pit lane after a win for Aidan Finn, a dominant win for Aidan Finn, as we are now getting ready to go for the final heat of the Super Heavies and the final heat of the night, Russ.
And also, right, look at what we got here. We got Lewis Fazludin, who won brilliantly in the previous heat, and he starts right at the back. So we are going to see exactly what he is made of. For all you Team Sport Hull fans out there, Kane Brown is currently 7th on the grid in this race. So yeah, he's got to go forwards, I would say. From 7th, if he's going to make a strong impact in this competition.
Yeah, still a lot of love coming in for various drivers. Alison Robbie saying, go Team Sport Dundee. Wishing the Dundee group as all the best in their efforts tonight. Dana Lee, great racing, guys. Congrats. And Hyper Day. Come on, Jack. And then Louise 224 asking if we can mention John Houston from Dundee. Yes, we can mention John Houston. I believe he has the beautiful Jensen Button replica that we saw racing earlier. It was fantastic. And then Stig, come on, Rhys Basley, wishing the driver on home turf all the best, as the drivers now are sat on the grid waiting to go racing. Just see the 19, that's our pole sitter, Damien Smith, with the 17 of Joel Algerius just behind him. The front row is also going to be shared. You can just see him there by Kevin Warner. As these guys now, the last carts, waiting to file out of the pit lane for this, the final heat of these super heavies, the final heat for the over 18s, the final heat of the day.
And Tom, I'm literally missing the masked dancer to be here tonight, if I'll be honest, but we are going to unmask somebody ourselves here tonight. We are going to unmask a BIKC champion. Who would you want to be? Would you want to be a BIKC champion, yeah? Or would you want to be somebody who gets unmasked on a TV show?
Honestly, I've probably got a very slim chance of doing both, but I'd say BIKC champion would definitely be the option there.
BIKC all the way, Tom. BIKC all the way. And here we go. We are off, and we are under rolling start orders. And yeah, this is a bit of a slow one. I think we're just, in fact, no, they're picking up a little bit of pace now. We've got number 19, Damien Smith, who is in the pole position. We've got 5, Kevin Warner, who will be alongside him. Here we go. So here we go, and Damien Smith has definitely not held on to his pole position. Kevin Warner has gone straight into the lead of this race.
Yeah, the 5 Kevin Warner got the better run from the outside of the grid. It seems like starting off second is definitely a bit of an advantage, gives you the inside for the first corner, as Faz Loading already getting his elbows out, trying to get past 27 James Troop at the back of the field. It's going to be interesting to see how far Lewis can come through the field. Obviously a heat winner already today. He had a very dominant performance, and let's see how far he can get through the field. His first target, 27 James Troop.
Okay, here we go, literally flying through the fastest section of the circuit, and yeah, we've got some drivers here who are absolutely bumper to bumper. They're trying to take slightly different racing lines to try and gain a bit of an advantage on each other, but flashing over the start-finish line. We got some lap times popping up. It's a 1:02 for Kevin Warner. Damien Smith second at the moment. Jake Milne, yeah, look at this, third at the moment, third. All the way from Dundee, and he's racing in third position. Joel in fourth, Darren Wilson is in fifth. Matthew Mandipira is in sixth position. James Dixon Joel is seventh. He's had an up and down night. Kane Brown is in eighth. Oh, Diana won't be happy at that, let me tell you. Adrian Ray is in ninth. Darren Stables 10th, then James, then Lewis, who's still at the back, Lewis. And Lewis at the moment struggling to make any impact in this race.
Yeah, he's not at the back. He's trying to stay away. He's trying to get that move on James Troop. It looked like he had the move done through the double left-hander at the top of the flyover, but couldn't quite get the power down and couldn't quite get through. Looks like Jake Mill has a bit of pressure from Darren Wilson, one of the fastest drivers we've seen in this category so far, as they go over the start-finish line to put another lap in the book. There's a lot of pressure being applied to the back of that kart in P4. James Dixon Joel as well in that fight, as well as Kane Brown, as a time penalty comes through, as I mentioned, for Kane Brown. Team Sport Hall will be absolutely furious. I'm believing that's going to be for a start line infringement by the looks, or we've not seen anything else kick off on circuit, but disaster there for Kane Brown.
Okay, yeah, really good racing here. So Kevin Warner still leading the race at the moment, but it's very tight. The whole gap thing is less than 1 second, so it's not over yet. That's for certain. We have a fair way to go in this, the last heat of the day.
Yeah. So
here we go. Here's a move. Oh, little bit of contact, didn't quite come off. Driver number 9, Darren Wilson, giving it everything. Yeah, go on. We like to see a bit of that. You've got to have a go, haven't you? You've got to have a go.
Yeah, he definitely made like a postman and sent it then. He went a little bit too far on the inside, had to lock the brakes up to avoid getting into the back of Jake Milne that sat there in fourth place. Milne doing a really good job to hold off one of the quickest drivers in this field, Darren Wilson. He's one of the only drivers to get under the 60-second bracket in this set of heats so far. He's also got James Dixon Joel as well, and it looks like that time penalty for Kane Brown has been reversed.
And so, that's all down to the VAR, that is.
Yeah, so it looks like they've taken it back, and a new penalty's popped up now, a 5-second penalty for Darren Wilson.
I'll tell you what happened, right? That happened. Diana, straight on the phone. What are you doing? Penalising my driver, and they... Good news for Hull. That is some good news for Hull. Your man is at last. He's brought it to the table. Kane Brown, 4th place at the moment.
And as it stands, fastest lap of the race as well.
Could go faster. And yeah, 60.049, fastest lap of the event.
Yeah, fastest lap so far, dangerously close to making it into the 59 club there, Kane Brown.
Here we go, we've got a bit of contact because the driver in 19 here is literally pointing to the driver behind saying he's hitting me, he's pushing me, trying to just alert the marshals to what is going on. I was all over this as 19 takes a very wide line, hoping to make a dive for the inside, but he's compromised his exit speed here, which means that number 17, Joel, is surely going to be absolutely all over when we get down to turn 1.
Yeah, tries to go, maybe looks for a move, but Damien Smith has it covered. He's flying up the order at the moment, and he's doing everything he can to try and get past Kevin Warner. Warner maybe doesn't have the outright pace of the other guys. Oh, contact with 17. That is going to be right in front of the cameras. The guys are going to be taking a look at that one.
Number 17, Joel Arguelles, what were you thinking? You won't get away with that on a night like this.
Yeah, there's a good chance he's going to pick up at least a warning flag for his troubles on that one. He has lost quite a bit of ground. The top three now have spread out a little bit, and looking at the time left on the clock, I reckon as they come across the line this time, it will be the final lap. But running in fourth place at the moment, Jake Milne has moved up with James Dixon Joel, completing the top 5. Kane Brown down to P6.
Oh, here we go, they're side by side here, and here we go, 26 is taking a very different line. But he's taken a different line on the wrong corner. That's the corner there. You want to be taking a different line so you can sweep inside, as we saw a few races ago.
Yeah, you need to really line the move up at turn 1, try and get a really good run out of turn 2, and then fire it down the inside of the third hairpin there and get the run over the start-finish line. But James Dixon Joel trying everything they can to get past Jake Milne. But at the front, Kevin Warner looks like he might just have enough space to get away with this. Damien Smith, after that little bit of contact, he's not quite as close as he was in the previous laps. It should be coming off the flyover now. A little bit of barrier contact there for James Troop as we wait to see the leaders drop off the flyover. You've got Damien Smith catching Kevin Warner. I don't think he's going to be able to make the move. Warner takes a relatively defensive line through the first hairpin, through the second one. Smith can't do anything about it. It's going to end up as a drag race to the line between the two, but it looks like Kevin Warner is just about going to hang on, and it looks like we've got one more lap.
Hey, a bonus lap at the end of the heats. We couldn't want anything else. We don't want the racing to end. And you know what? Neither does the race directing team. Hell, let's just keep going. Let's do a 24-hour. Let's just go for it.
That would be painful around this circuit. The driver's coming off after 15-20 minutes with bruised hands and a bit of pain in the arm. Imagine a 24 around here.
And Kevin Warner has got to hold on for an extra lap in order to see the checkered flag. He's still got our lead. It's just over 0.3 of a second.
It's
Kane
even
Brown.
less than that. They're coming down, coming through the chicane. Damien Smith knows it's now or never. He throws it to the inside. Warner slams the door.
There was a collision, but he survived. And driver number 5, Kevin Warner, takes the impact. But if anything, it makes him go even faster. It compromises driver number 17. And yes, he wins. And Kevin Warner makes it to that victory.
Yeah, that contact did end up allowing Joel Arguelles through and allowed push Damien Smith down to 3rd on that one. So very, very close racing. But Russ, we're now at the end of the heats for BIKC for day 1. And yeah, it's setting up a decent semi-final now for the super heavyweight category.
I can't wait, Tom. In actual fact, as ever, in all the events we have had so far, we have got some absolute superstars out there. And but I tell you who didn't have a great run in that last was Lewis Versluden, who was tipped by the clerk of the course to do extremely well, and he did win his second heat, but he started last. And sometimes it is so difficult to get past the back markers, because the back markers are kind of falling over themselves to get past the driver in front. But not a massive haul of points, but I would have thought he'd still be fairly strong up the leaderboard there, as due to that win in the second heat. But that's the end of the heats for the heavyweights, and we are now going to just take a little bit of a pause while the marshals, who have been absolutely unbelievable today, just set the carts up for the first of the semi-finals. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and we are back for the serious stuff. We are back for the semi-finals. We are back for the grand final. We are back to crown a new British indoor karting champion. That is what we are here to do in the next 45 minutes or so. Now, this is how this is going to work. We have semi-finals, and it's going to be, as I said, right at the start of the commentary, the top 8 is what we are interested in. The top 8 drivers will go through and qualify and race in the grand final. Now, because this is the semi-finals, we are going to increase the length of the races. So they are going to be 10-minute races. So basically, the drivers have got a little bit more time to make those moves, to plan those moves, to make it happen, and to book that place in the grand final. Now, Tom, we've done this all day. It's pick a winner time. And you can go first this time.
Oh, me
fact,
go
you
first.
went first last time.
Yeah, I've gone first. I've gone first both times, and I've picked correctly. So go on, Russ. It's your turn.
Right. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna.
I already have my pick. So
I am going. I'm gonna go for Lewis. I'm with the clerk of the course.
You're going with the clerk of the course. I've got 2 words for you. Reese Basley. It's a very popular decision there with our resident timekeeper and official starter, Ross. But yeah, my 2 words to your pick there, mate, is Reese Basley.
Indeed, but it could be a number of drivers. I reckon we could have a list of 5 or 6 here, even, if I'd be absolutely honest. There's a lot of drivers who have done well in certain races, but then struggled to get past the slower drivers when they have been further down the field.
Yeah, agreed. Again, Reese is one of those we've seen. He had 2 very good results in the first 2 heats, and maybe struggled a little bit to get through the field. We've also got the likes of Damien Smith, that's been ridiculously quick over a single lap. Hasn't quite had the race results. He's going to be going off P7 in this one, so even to make it through to the final, he's got quite a lot of work to do.
And dare I say it, Tom, it might be because we are in the heavyweights. So if you, the heavier the drivers, the less extra momentum you can potentially get by going out the corners. So I'm sure part of that is not necessarily down to the standard of driving, because the standard of driving is, as has been all day, absolutely terrific, but is in fact down to the fact that they're just carrying a few extra kilos there.
Yeah, having a race with a little bit of success ballast myself, mid-corner momentum is the ultimate thing you need here. The moment you shrug off any speed, trying to get it back around this circuit is extremely difficult because this track is so fast, because it is so high speed. It's even more important to maybe throw it a little bit more through the corners than you would around another circuit, or maybe even if you've got a different power plant under the side of it.
On the other hand, though, Tom, I bet they're awesome on the down ramp.
Oh yes, you absolutely fly down the ramp. You close up about 7 or 8 feet on the featherweights. So,
right, here we go.
You're dead proud of yourself with that one, aren't you?
Thought that was a good one. I hope the 10,000 people who have tuned in to watch us today appreciate this.
Yeah, we've already had comments that you're getting sassier and sassier, and yeah, you're proving it now. You're just running with it now.
Rachel knows how sassy I can get.
Oh wow! But yeah, we are almost ready to go for the first of the semi-finals. We're going to run through the grid in a couple of moments as the drivers are getting into their karts. So the last couple of drivers, the last couple of preparations being made. The drivers are sat up to the out to the end of the pit lane, and it's Joel Arjules who's going to lead them away. Adam Jackson is on the front row as well. Kevin Warner, Wesley Carr, Robert Bowes, Adrian Ray, Damien Smith, Craig Tucker, Darren Stables, Ryan Hughes, Adrian Jones, and Jack Tate complete the 12-kart grid that is about to contest this 10-minute semi-final. Remember, we are going to wave goodbye to 4 of these drivers, so you need to make sure you are in the top 8 by the time the checkered flag falls in a little over 10 minutes' time.
Okay, here we go. And yes, the tension is building. The tension is building. Semi-final stage. This is the first point where we are going to have drivers actually get knocked out. Now, hot off the press. So literally, the clerk of the course has just knocked on the door. We did have a debate whether we'd let him in, but we did let him in. And he's given us some vital information. There is a late appeal going on at the moment. Tom, what do you make of that one?
So with the decisions that go out there, especially with the VAR that we do have at our disposals, the drivers can obviously appeal decisions that are made by the clerking team. And yeah, a late appeal. It's not brilliant for the smooth running of the event, but as long as it is fair, that's what we're all about here.
I bet it's Diana again. It's got to be.
Yeah, I think she's phoned up and just said, yeah, you know that Kane Brown, yeah, he needs to be on pole, mate.
She's just arrived, actually. She's just over there, and yeah, it's not pretty, if I'll be absolutely honest. And look, I can just announce that Kane has just been moved up into pole position.
Oh, you're really proud of yourself for that one, aren't you?
He hasn't, everybody. Don't panic, everybody. Don't panic. He hasn't.
So yeah, just a moment or two before we get while the stewarding team take a look through the appeal that's been submitted, just to make sure that the racing is as fair as possible. But the karts are leaving the pit lane, so in theory we might have a result on that appeal.
And I would have thought that the result would have been a negative one, otherwise they would have held the drivers back and they would have moved some of the drivers around, potentially even from race to race. So that's what I think, what I'm guessing. If I'll be absolutely honest, we'll get some confirmation, I'm sure, in a minute. And, oh no, in fact, I stand corrected. The protest result, the Ford time penalty has been converted into a grid penalty. So they dropped from 4th to 9th. So they are still staying in this particular semi-final. But it is quite a big drop, if I be absolutely honest. It's that's got to hurt. That's got to hurt.
Yeah, a time penalty, it's not the greatest thing, but a grid penalty, that's even worse, because it puts even more karts right in front of you. So, yeah, that's not exactly the sort of thing you want to be carrying, especially in an event where you need to make sure you are getting inside the top 8 over the next 10 minutes.
Okay, right, so... And we are doing the final checks now. We are, in fact, about to go racing once again. So, yeah, we're away. And so let's see exactly what the pace. It's not really a pace lap, really. It's like a third of a lap. Let's see how they go. And it's pretty steady, actually, pretty steady. We saw some very, very slow pace laps earlier on in the day, which is this section was being used really strategical for drivers to try and get this advantage, but it's looking pretty good, and they are on they're watching out for it. They're watching out. Here we go, and it's going to be, it looks like a cracker for number 12. It looks like Joel, and they all go absolutely steaming into turn 1. I'm actually really surprised there wasn't some heavy contact there, because the drivers looked pretty ruthless as they went into that corner.
Yeah, elbows were out, but it does look like they all managed through pretty cleanly. So it's Joel Arjules that leads. Back is Kevin Warner, but up in second position. They've managed to jump Adam Jackson, who started on the front row. Looks like they're currently fighting it out for 3rd or 4th at the moment. I believe that's with Wesley Carr as well in the 23. Yeah, it's a little bit of contact from the driver of the 26 machine. That's Adrian Ray, who's slap bang in the middle of this 12-car field as they file through the first hairpin. The 14 of Adam Jackson trying to go for a move on the 23 of Wesley Carr around the outside, wheel-to-wheel stuff here at Team Sport Warrington. These guys throwing everything they have, and the 26 drives around the outside of the 14. Amazing move by Adrian Ray to take the position away from Adam Jackson.
I tell you what, that is also and absolutely one of the best moves we've seen all day there. Around the outside of that corner, absolutely awesome. But in the lead at the moment is Joel Arguelles, who at the moment is around about just under a second ahead of Kevin Warner as it looks at the present moment in time. And the pace, as ever, is absolutely ferocious out there, as we have come to got used to really over the past 2 hours or so, and a bit more contact there. But I tell you what, there is a driver. He is dressed in white right at the back of that pack and is really giving some contact there, and I'm sure that in a minute will be dealt with by the stewards, because that's 2 occasions here. But look at this, 26 on the outside of 23, cuts in, but then goes around the other side and literally all the way through that.
Yeah, Adrian Ray
looking front, he had
very racy.
He literally knew exactly where that drive was going to be and just blocked all the way around. That was aggressive driving, but brilliant defensive driving. I didn't think that position was in any danger there, because the driver really knew what he was doing.
And there we go, they're having another crack at it. Adrian Ray in the 26 versus Wesley Carr in the 23. Ray goes the move, and Carr is getting hung out to dry. Adam Jackson now trying to go around the outside on the top. He's not quite able to go for it. If you've got the inside line as you head up the ramp, then there's a very good chance you're able to defend the position. But Adam Jackson and Wesley Carr, those guys keep seeming to find themselves on circuit. We saw it earlier with Chris Schuker and Ben Pickham, I think it was, earlier on in the day in the featherweights, and now we've got it all over again with Wesley Carr and Adam Jackson. And
Wesley Carr is once again pointing to the car. I don't think he's very happy with the driving of the driver directly behind him as he's pointing. He was pointing deathly there at the car. Number 4 has spun off at the fastest part of the course. That is Adrian Jones, but to his credit, managed to get out of that really quickly.
Yeah, looked like a small mistake. Maybe it's the 15, throws it down the inside. That's Craig Tucker trying to make inroads. He's got to try and find 2 places at the expense of Ryan Hughes and Damien Smith to make it into the into the grand final. Remember, top 8 will make it through. Currently out in front, Joel Arguelles leads the way. Kevin Warner in second, Adrian Ray in third, Wesley Carr, Adam Jackson, Darren Stables, Robert Bowes and Damien Smith. There your qualifiers at the moment, but it could be all change in the next 6 minutes or so as the race progresses.
But driver number 23 and 26, Wesley Carr and Adrian Ray. Wesley Carr in 4th, Adrian in 3rd. They are absolutely together on the circuit, and it doesn't look like a very happy relationship, if I'll be absolutely honest, because they are both absolutely determined to beat. And here we go. He's going to have an overspeed here. Is number 14, but he can't do anything with it because longer way around the corner. And even though he had a faster speed, he had more track to take in order to get round there, and therefore it just negated everything he was trying to do. But still, you got to try. Number 12, Joel Arguelles still leading, 4 laps down now. Remember, these are 10-lap races. We have a driver in the pits.
Yeah, it looks like Adrian Jones, who had that spin at turn number 1, has dropped into the pits. It looks like that could be an early retirement for him.
That is a shame.
Yeah, that is a very big shame. We don't like seeing drivers pull out of races early, but we do have a fantastic battle between Carr and Jackson brewing. Like we said, these guys have been nose to tail for the entirety of this race night so far. And now they've got Darren Stables in the blue trying to come in on the party as Carr goes extremely defensive, as that's going to allow Jackson around the outside to try and cut back to the inside. And Stables there thought about a cheeky move down the inside of the 14, couldn't quite get it done. But it looks like the blue crews, they go across the line. The blue suit, the blue helmet and the blue seat, all nose to tail.
And number 14, Adam Jackson, has tried that maneuver now a number of times. It hasn't really worked for him. Now, we've seen a lot of overtaking on those corners, and it can be done, and we've seen it tonight. It can be done really well, but you've just got to get your timing absolutely on it. and you've got to get your momentum so you can really sprint past on the outside of that final hairpin, because you don't have very long before the track starts to weave.
Yeah, it's an extremely difficult place to overtake. Warrington is a circuit that does reward the brave, and we've seen quite a lot of brave drivers out there today. But Wesley Carr at the moment just holding Adam Jackson at arm's length, with Darren Stables not too far behind. Out in front, Joel Argiles is still in the lead. Kevin Warner and Adrian Ray, your top three. Adrian holds the fastest lap of the race at 61.2, as it looks like Stables has managed to get past and down the inside of Adam Jackson. That looked like a simple send down the inside.
And Wesley Carr there driving really didn't really go to the inside, didn't go to the outside, just kind of kept it in the middle, and the drivers behind just didn't know which way to go. Do I go left? Do I go right? I just won't bother trying. And he keeps that position. He's going around confusing everybody.
Yeah, they're throwing the carts either side just to try and effectively sell the dummy. Say, yeah, I'm going down this side. Nope, I'm going to go through. I'm going to go around your outside. Maybe just trying to force a driver to defend in a place they don't need to, just to open up a gap to try and make the overtake. Contact at the top.
Yeah, that is. I think that was 14, Adam Jackson.
Yeah,
that
Jackson
was
clearly
heavy contact up there.
Jackson clearly not happy with being overtaken by Stables. He wants that position back. Wesley Carr going on the massive defensive once again. Defends on the way in through the first hairpin. The 14 trying to go around the outside of the 8. Oh, Stables with a massive dive. That's twice in 2 laps. He's been able to do it. Is Jackson going to be able to follow the two side by side through the S's?
He's going to lose 2 positions.
Fantastic racing between the pair of them there. Wesley Carr just loses 2 positions in the space of a couple of corners. They were very lucky not to come to grief there, and Wesley Carr now could be about to get swallowed up by the chasing field with the 21 of Rob Bowes and Damien Smith. Carr is in real danger here of not making it through to the final at this rate.
Okay, absolutely brilliant driving that was, and he just came from nowhere, and we were kind of focusing on a different kart, and suddenly, wham, right there, exactly where you need the kart to be, on the racing line, on the inside, clean manoeuvre, boom, and then just beautiful. But I'll be honest, on indoor karting terms, that is how it is done.
Yeah, 2 very beautiful overtakes there from Darren Stables. Now he's got the opportunity to maybe try and chase down Adrian Ray, but we are getting towards the closing stages of this race. I believe the guys are going to be heading on to the final lap here, as Joel Argiles, Kevin Warner and Adrian Ray, the top 3, are separated by just under 2 seconds. Fastest lap of the race still held by Adrian Ray, just over the 61-second bracket, as they fly through the bottom hairpin, heading on to the flyover for what we believe is going to be the final time.
I think, yeah, this is looking like the last lap at the moment. We are literally keeping one eye on the flag person to see if we have some movement. We do. That is a checker flag, I can see, I believe. So yes, this is going to be the final lap, and number 12, Joel Argiles, is not a comfortable win by any stretch of the imagination. Kevin Warner is still there, less than a second behind. But equally, Adrian Ray is there, not making life easy for Kevin either. But here we go. He is going to win, and number 12 comes through underneath the Dunlop Bridge and wins, and will have a big say in what happens in the grand final, because that should be a front row.
Yeah, you can see what it means just to win even the semi-final here at the BIKC. Joel with both arms in the air, celebrating the victory there. Kevin Warner in second, Adrian Ray in third, Darren Stables, Adam Jackson, Wesley Carr, Rob Bowes and Damien Smith punch their tickets to the finals. It means we do have to say goodnight to Ryan Hughes, Craig Tucker, Jack Tate and Adrian Jones, who sadly retired from the race 4 laps into the contest. But now we know the first 8 drivers who are going to be taking part in the final. Now we just need to find out who the other 8 are.
Okay, so 1 semi-final down and 1 to go, and yeah, top 8. So the drivers sadly miss out as Jason Ford, Kane Brown, Team Sport Hull.
You can't tell it's It's a long day when Russ starts telling the people who are on the grid that they're already going home. So the grid for the second of the semi-finals is now up. So we'll quickly run through that now. So Aidan Finn up on the front row, Sam Dixon alongside him. That's an interesting front row there alone. Reese Basley, Darrell Wilson. That is 3 drivers who've all won heats today. Lewis Fasloden again, P5. Matthew Mandipira, former champion in this class. James Troop has been there or thereabouts. James Dixon Joel has been pretty quick over the course of the day. Jason Ford, Kane Brown will go off P10. Jake Milne and Ollie Severus will go off P12. Honestly, if that was the grid for the final, I'd be pretty happy, but we have to say goodbye to 4 of those drivers.
Yeah, that's madness, isn't it? Let's try and get it right from now on. My apologies, everybody, but yeah, we've got Aidan there in Poland. Well, the only thing I would say, Lewis Fasloden, a little bit further down than what I would have thought he would have ended up. He did have a storming win there, his second heat, but 5th it is for Lewis. So he's got a bit of work to do. I mean, he should qualify for the final as long as he just holds his position. But hey, it's not just about qualifying for the final, it's about winning.
Right, the drivers now make their way onto the dummy grid as we get ready for the last semi-final of the day, and possibly one of the most important races for these 12 drivers that they've ever competed in. Only 8 can stamp their ticket to the final of the BIKC 2020 super heavyweight category, and in a little over 10 minutes we're going to find out exactly who it is. Just looks like there's a kart check going on there on the grid. Just double checking something. Looks like the marshals are all happy with it. Bieber tells them to put the visors down and releases the drivers away. So it's the 11 of Aidan Finn, the 6 of Sam Dixon, the 13 of Reese Basley, the number 1 of Darrell Wilson, the 17 of Lewis Fasloden, the 10 of Matthew Mandipira, the 2 of James Troop, the 18 of James Dixon Joel, the 16 of Jason Ford, the 27 of Kane Brown, the 19 of Jake Milne, and the 7 of Ollie Severus. They come under the Dunlop Bridge. These guys are a bit quick. There's a chance to go in round again. The race goes green though. We are off and racing for the semi-final. It looks like Sam Dixon goes straight to the lead as a lot of drivers go sideways through the first couple of corners, but emerging out of the dark, it is Sam Dixon that leads. Looks like Reese Basley has fallen down the order. Number 1 of Darren Wilson is up in second in the orange kit there. Pulls it to Aidan Finn has dropped down the order. Again, a bit of contact at the bottom level, and Reese definitely not happy with that.
Massive contact there, and Reese Basley, who was in 3rd place, has absolutely gone backwards, and he was on the up ramp there with both hands off the wheel in the air, just saying, people are hitting me.
Yeah, so as they go down the main straight, it is Dixon that leads from Wilson in 2nd place as they file through the first couple of as they file through the first lap. 10 of Matthew Mandipira has the 18 of James Dixon Joel and the 13 of Reese Basley behind them. As they come across the line, we'll see exactly what's happened to the order. So the order at the moment: Dixon, Wilson, Finn, Mandipira, Dixon Joel, Basley, Fasloden and Troop. Those are your qualifiers at the moment for the final, but 8 minutes on the clock, that could all change.
Yeah, brilliant racing at the front. Slightly more ropier racing, I would say, a little bit further down. But yeah, it's awesome stuff from Sam, and he's half a second in the lead at the present moment in time. And there is still a very, very tight racing further down the field near the back. But they're all just spread out a little bit more now. So we shall see. We should be seeing a little bit less chaos here. But they all charge down to the fastest part of the track. And I said that deliberately, for usually if I say, right, there's going to be no chaos, usually we get a bit of chaos, Tom.
Yes.
So let's see. Let's see.
That seems to be what's happening at the moment. The top 3 are forming a bit of a breakaway. The number 1 of Darren Wilson, one of the quickest drivers out there today, is right on the back of Sam Dixon. Those are 2 drivers who have won heats today. Aidan Finn is right up under the rear bumper, as well as the 2019 Super Heavyweight Champion of Kart Champs. There, Matthew Mandipira in the 10 kart, running in P4. As they file through, fastest lap of the race, Lewis Fasloden at the moment at 61.458 as the leaders head onto the flyover. The 6 of Sam Dixon holding on to the lead.
And Lewis has had a bad run here. He's gone backwards, not forwards. He was our tip, and the Clark of the course is tip as well, but he's still looking to qualify for the grand final. Top 8 go through. So at the moment, the drivers missing out are going to be Kane Brown, Jake Mill, all the way from Dundee, Ollie Sievers and Jason Ford. Those are the drivers at the moment that look like they're going to miss out, but there is still a long way to go. There's around about 6.5 minutes, which means it could all still change. Now back at the front, Sam Dixon, 2 laps down. Let's see as they cross the start. It's going to be very similar. I would say that's slightly extended his lead, just under half a second. 0.421 is the gap for the lead. Darren Wilson in second, with Aidan Finn a further 0.6 seconds back in third place.
Yeah, so Dixon, Wilson, Finney, top 3 at the moment. Mando Perez is starting to catch up to that pack. He's about 2 and a bit tenths quicker than Aidan Finn was on that last lap. Fastest lap at the moment is Sam Dixon, 61.201. These guys trying to fire away from the field, build a gap and potentially fight amongst themselves.
Yeah, really, really good. Fastest lap now is by Sam Dixon, who is in the lead. So not only is he in the lead, but he is pushing. He's really pushing. That's a 61.201. So yeah, that's a good lap time, is what I would say. But yeah, coming round now to finish to complete lap 4. And even though he's setting good lap times, he can't quite shake off Darren Wilson. He's still there, just a little bit further more behind. Now it's a fraction under half a second, but still could really be deemed to be there within striking distance.
Yeah, it looks like Faz Loading then just tried to take a chunk out of Basley. The 2 picks of the commentators look like they were getting into each other, and it looks like as a result of that, James Troop has managed to get past Lewis Faz Loading, dropping him into 8th place, putting him into the danger zone. Coming up behind him is Team Sport Hull's very own Kane Brown. A lot of support for him, and I think everyone at Team Sport Hull would love to see him in the final, but at this rate, it could be at the expense of Lewis Faz Loading.
Come on, Kane, you can do it. You've got one more place to make up to make it into the grand final. Come on, you can do it. Sam Dixon, though, 4 laps down now. Well on his way, but still good 4 minutes to go here. Could still change.
So this looking at the fight over 4th place. Matthew Mandipera and James Dixon Joel going over the start-finish line. Absolutely nose to tail. Dixon Joel in the wheel tracks of the former champion, who runs in 4th place at the moment. They fire under the, looks like the 7 as well, trying to make a good move there. Ollie Severus trying to get up the order, currently running P11. Next target for him is Jake Mill in P10. And
so it's all pretty static at the moment, with that gap for the lead just edging higher now. If it was just over 0.4, then just under 0.5. Now it's 0.6. It's going up by a 1/10 of a second every single lap, and that is consistency that is going on out there. Sam Dixon, superb consistency. Darren Wilson cannot quite match the pace. Aidan Finn there holding on to 3rd place, and probably a relatively solid 3rd place, I would say, as he's got a good 2.5 on number 10, Matthew Mandipera. So it's looking pretty solid there. James Dixon Joel still hanging in there. How much of an up and down night has he had? But it's looking like he's going to make it into the grand final.
It looks like that at the moment, but he has got Reece Basley right up under his rear bumper. The 13 card is right there with him. He's got the 10 of Matthew Mandipera just in front of him. Troop and Faz Loading are still nose to tail as well. Basley trying to make amends for a poor start at the start of this heat, and his next target is James Dixon Joel. Dixon Joel already not quite happy with maybe the driving stands or his car. He's already had his arms in the air, gesticulating about what's been on circuit. Maybe something for the stewards to take a look at the end of the race. Still out in front though, it's Sam Dixon. It's Sam Dixon that leads. Darren Wilson in 2nd, Aidan Finn in 3rd, but Basley here looking to make a move on the 18, heading in towards turn number 3. The 10 though is just starting to pull away a touch. They go over the start-finish line as we head on to what is probably going to be 2 laps to go.
Yeah, brilliant stuff, and it's so disappointing. Kane Brown there is just 1 place away, and he's probably about 1.5 seconds away from that 8th place. So I'd even go as far to say that he's really needing something to happen in front. Something to go wrong for some of those drivers, and we've seen it. It has happened today that mishaps have happened. We've had carts go into tyre barriers. We've had drivers pull into the pit lane. It's all gone on, but he just needs a little bit of luck to try and make his way into the grand final.
Yeah, as they drop down, you can just see that gap there is Lewis Fazlodin. There is Kane Brown, who's trying to punch a ticket into the final, but he's going to have to try and beat a driver who's already won a heat in convincing fashion. As we now get towards the final lap of the race, again, the 13 is tucked right up under the rear bumper of the 18. Currently, they're running 5th and 6th. That's enough to get through to the final, but any position that you can make up over the course of this heat is going to make your job in the final that little bit easier.
Okay, then we are now, I think, on the final lap, are we? I'm just looking at the flag. Person who, I think, yeah, picks up the checkered flag there. So we are, I believe, on the final lap. It's going to be Sam Dixon who is going to come round. And still a bit of a distance to go, I think, to before they take the checkered flag. They've got a bit of racing to do here, coming down the main straight. You have to negotiate the fastest parts of the course and the hairpins. And here we go. In goes 6, Sam Dixon. Number 1, Darren Wilson in 2nd. But it's just been all the way, Sam Dixon. Too consistent. Simple as that. Way too consistent. And driver number 6, Sam Dixon, books his place in the grand final of the BIKC, and let's see who is going to miss out. It is going to be, unfortunately, driver 27, Kane Brown, driver number 19, Jake Milne, all the way from Dundee, number 7, Ollie Sievers, and number 16, Jason Ford. Those are the drivers who will unfortunately miss out. But hey, it needs pointing out, right, what a journey these drivers have been on. And I don't mean from Dundee, I mean the competition. It's got to be the worst joke I pulled today, isn't it? It's got to be the worst gag.
It's up there. It's up there.
But hey, you know, all the qualifying stages, the local finals, the regional finals, and then to make it into the finals of the BIKC. Every single driver here has driven absolutely brilliantly over the course of the competition, and can go back to their circuits and hold their head extremely high. I don't think that'll be enough for Diana, if I'll be absolutely honest. But hey, he tried his best, Diana, and he only just missed out by a whisker.
Yeah, I think the fact that he came so close to being able to qualify, I think that's got to hurt. He's got to hurt a little bit. But yeah, just to even get to the finals here at Warrington, it's been a journey and a half for these guys. But what that means, with the conclusion of the semi-finals, it means that we now know the drivers who are going to contest the last final of the day, and to try and become the first British indoor karting champion in the super heavyweight division.
Indeed, we have 2 sets of top 8, and we're going to have to wait for race control, because there might be some last-minute points alterations. There might be some changes, but they will provide us with a grid. We've just had a huge thump upstairs. I think one of the drivers is not very happy, but hey ho. So we are going to wait here until we get the drivers who will be racing in the big race of the night, the grand final.
So yeah, we're just waiting. It looks like they got names up on the board, so it looks like the grid for the final is there. So they are going to be getting the drivers ready in a couple of moments, and for the final time today, we are going to go racing. But just looking through the entry list and where some of these drivers have qualified, even if you just look at the guys who are the top 3 in that race, Sam Dixon has come all the way from Team Sport Docklands. You've got Darren Wilson, who has come all the way from Team Sport Gosport, and then Aidan Finn, a relatively local driver, coming from Team Sport Preston.
Tom, look, there's a massive creature on the track. Oh, hang on, sorry, it's a fly on the telly. I do apologise. Yeah, indeed. So we are waiting now for the grand finalists. Ooh, hello. I've got a little bit of inside information here. Somebody has literally just handed me a grid. And I can tell you that we're just going to stick to surnames, okay? that we've got, working backwards, we've got in 16th place, we've got Smith. In 15th, we've got Fazludin. In 14th, we got Bowes. In 13th, we got Troop. In 12th, we've got Carr. In 11th, we got Basley. In 10th, we got Jackson. In 9th, we got Dixon Joel. The top 8 on the grid. 8, Stables. 7, Mandipira. 6th place on the grid is Finn. 5th place is Ray. 4th place is Warner. 3rd place is Wilson. The top 2, the front row. 2nd on the grid, it will be Argiles, and in pole position, it is Dixon.
Yeah, so a capacity grid there, 16 drivers ready to do battle for the final time today. And because it's the final, the grand final, it's going to be 15 minutes in length. Looking at the entry list as well, I do believe that Team Sport Preston have got 3 drivers in this final in the form of James Troop, Aidan Finn, and James Dixon Joel. So a good chance that we could have a driver from Team Sport Preston on the podium at the end of this race.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to this. But just to re-emphasize, the 3 finals we have had today have been absolutely unbelievable. There's just been the most thrilling race. It's been an absolute pleasure to commentate on. And we have high hopes for this, and we've got some real quality drivers out there. And we are hoping for an absolutely barnstorming 15 minutes here to finish off the first of the 2 days of the British Indoor Karting Championships.
Yeah, we've had some... We've had some amazing racing over the course of the day. Obviously, we kicked the day off with the featherweight category with the champion Dante Dillon taking home the gold. And then we took the lightweights out on circuit with Sam Slater taking...
Hey, Molly. To Team Sport Hull family and all watching, thanks for all your support. Lots of love, Kane. That's Team Sport Hull Kane. Thank you, Molly. We will definitely pass that message on, as we just have done so. But all I'm saying is just good luck when you see Diana. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to walk into that. I wouldn't want to walk in there having missed out on a fight on the final by a couple of seconds.
But hey, it's all good fun.
So for the final time today, the drivers taking a look at the screen, they're taking a look at the karts, and they're getting themselves ready to go racing. In just over 15 minutes' time, we're going to have crowned our 4th British Indoor Karting Champion.
Now we have a pit marshal there, and he's not just any usual, normal pit marshal. He is, ladies and gentlemen, Justin Bieber. Now, we've said all day that he is a Justin Bieber impersonator, but now, at the end of the day, I can lift the lid to let everybody know it is actually Justin Bieber is in the pit lane. So if anybody wants an autograph, we've had some celebs down today, there's no question about that. But how do you top Justin Bieber? Very, very difficult to do that.
Yeah, quite difficult when you've got him in the pit lane, you've got him here running your racing. I don't think it can be much better than having a global superstar looking after you at a team sport circuit.
Absolutely, absolutely. He's off, I think.
I think he's off. I think he's had enough. Justin Bieber. I think we've not paid him quite enough, so he's out of it. He's decided he doesn't want to do the show anymore.
I generally think he thought that joke was funny about 9 hours ago.
He probably thought that joke was funny 3 years ago.
The thing is, I still think it's hilarious.
Oh, of course it is.
That's all that counts.
Of course it's hilarious.
Is in the eye of the beholder.
Of course it's hilarious. You've got to have a good laugh, and at Team Sport we are fueled by fun.
Right, here we go. We're all going mad here, but it's been a long day. It's been a great day. And we are going to finish it off with a sensational grand final. That is the expectation here. And I hope all the drivers there can hear me, because that's what we want to see.
Yeah, every final we've had so far has been a ridiculously close competition, even when it's only been a couple of drivers up at the front of the field. We've had really close fights the whole way, and guys in the pit lane, we want to see the closest race we've seen today.
Okay, we're almost there. The drivers are in the pit lane for the last time tonight. Oh, we're missing a driver.
Looks like a driver's not quite taken up their opportunity to race in the grand finale.
Don't miss this one. You wouldn't want to like do all the racing, all the championship, all the qualifying, and then miss out on the grand final.
Oh, could you imagine that? All of that time, all of that effort, all of that, just the time put into the preparation.
He's not getting his money back. He's got no chance of that.
Looks like I can't see any drivers running down towards the pit lane, so I'm not sure if maybe they're on the bridge.
Molly
there is a man running.
If anyone can find him, Molly will. Oh, hang on, I got a knock on the door. Should we let him in?
So we have a late development due to one driver pulling out of the final.
Now, I've got breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Breaking news, just for the entire whole team, if I be absolutely honest. Just for the whole team. We have had a driver pull out, and therefore, we have allowed Kane to race in the grand final. Right
now, every single person at Team Sport Hull is going absolutely crazy. Their driver is running over the bridge. He's running down to the pit lane. And even though he thought he was out of it, he is going to contest the grand final of the super heavyweight division. And I can see Diana, and she's got a hammer in her hand, and I'm not sure quite what she's just done to that driver. But hey, Kane is in. So here we go. Worth the wait to get Kane in after everything that we've talked about him all night. Yeah, possibly one of the fan favourites over in the YouTube chat. A load of support coming from the guys over at Team Sport Hull for Kane Brown as the drivers now head out onto the grid for the final time today. Now I've just read a text off Lex here from Diana. Tell Russ that there's a bottle of champagne waiting. Well, I'll tell you what, he might not need that, Diana, because he's in the grand final. He might just be a dark horse to come storming through the field and win a bottle of champagne anyway. Yeah, champagne, a prize from the guys over at Club 100, and a beautifully massive trophy for the guys that finish in the top three. Our trophy is like half the size of some of our drivers today. That's how big that trophy is. It's like the size of Lex. I think when Dom is here tomorrow, he's going to get a bit intimidated by that trophy, if I'll be absolutely honest. Boy, I hope he's not watching. We've already had the comments that Russ Babley's getting sassier and sassier, yeah, I think that's probably the highlight. So here we go for the last time. The drivers are just setting up on the grid. So I can also say that the driver, but we said this, Tom, all day in actual fact, that the driver that dropped out has got really bad blisters. So effectively, yeah, it's a very physical circuit. We've been chatting to the guys at the end of the racing, and some of them is showing them their hands. The guys who've raced here often, they obviously have what we call Warrington hands that can deal with this sort of stuff. But this track is so physical that yeah, it can cause you some issues. Okay, here we go. So these drivers now have been sitting there a long time, and let's hope that the tension has not got some, because we really want to see clean racing here. That is, I think, the most important thing. That's what we look for. So here we go. They lead off for the last time tonight. And let's see what speed the pole sitter, Sam Dixon, is going to take them around. It's fairly steady at the present moment in time. They go around the hairpin, beautifully aligned to abreast, it has to be said. Here we go. They're approaching the green light. This is the big one, everybody. This is the one. This is what it's all about. And we have a green light. And number 10, Joel Arguilas, has gone into the lead. He started in second place, but
He's leading.
Yeah, decent start there for Joel. Just looking towards the back, it looked like there was a couple of cars going over the red line. We've seen a few people getting pinged for penalties for that over the course of the day. The last thing we want to see is a result decided by penalty in that sense. But out in front at the moment, Joel Argiles leads the way in the number 10. As they head down the bottom section of the circuit and head down the ramp for the first time through the fastest section of the circuit. It is the number 1 of Kevin Warner who's up there in second place. It looks like he's got Dixon just behind him off the front row. So Dixon down 3 places off the start, Warner up 3 into second.
Okay, here we go. So just for just a perfect start from driver number 10. That's exactly what you want to do in the BIKC final. Just, yeah, didn't quite take pole position, but hey, when it mattered, the start was there, and boom, straight into that corner first, and is looking ready to, I'd say, comfortable, a half-second lead at this stage of the competition. It's going to get tighter, but for now, he's looking solid.
One driver's just tumbled down the timing sheets there. It's Adrian Ray. Not quite sure what's gone on there, but they're now running right down at the back of the field, just behind Kane Brown. They've just tumbled right down, promoting the likes of Dan Wilson up to 7th, Basley up to 8th, Wesley Carr in 9th, and Troop up to the top 10, as they now file back down the pit straight for the second time.
Okay, and yeah, it's getting tighter. It's definitely getting tighter. The gap between Joel and Kevin Warner is less. It's definitely less. There's just about a metre or so. And yeah, he's just kind of working him out, I think, at the present moment in time. He's just working out where the lines are. I've got no doubt that in a lap or so, we are going to have some serious pressure from Kevin exerted on the current leader, number 10, Joel. The fastest lap so far, the fastest lap is tumbling down. We got Reese Basley with it on a 60.951. Yes, that's what we're talking about.
Looks like second lap through. Kane Brown also makes up another position there. He's now up into 14th place from the back of the grid. You did say, wouldn't it be great to see him charge through the order? So far, he's picking off a car to lap at this rate. Out in front, though, Joel Argiles still has Kevin Warner and Sam Dixon right behind him as they go down the bottom section of the circuit, heading down the down ramp. Argiles has a bit of breathing room now. The 4 is in there as well. Aidan Finn, the former champion, Matthew Mandaper is in there as well to complete the top 5.
You're absolutely right, Tom. If Kane is literally picking off one. If this race is another 14 laps, then Kane Brown is going to be the BIKC champion. That is how it is panning out at the present moment in time. But at the moment, number 10, Joel Argiles is in the lead and Kevin Warner is second, and the gap is less than 0.4 of a second, with Sam Dixon in 3rd and Aidan Finn in 4th place at the moment.
As they now file through and head up the ramp for the 4th time of asking here. The lights are on yellow. Not sure what's gone on around the circuit, but the yellow lights are on for an instant. We're going to try and see if we can spot who's tumbled down the order. Looks like the driver's still coming up. We are back to green, so a very short yellow there. Looks like we might have lost Rob Bowles. He's fallen right down behind Adrian Ray, who himself had a spin on the opening lap, dropping him right down the order. But an early yellow bringing some of the guys a little bit closer together.
Okay, here we go. Round the fastest part of the section. The kart's absolutely glued to the track, they look, and the drivers are almost just cancelling themselves out. They're all taking exactly the same lines precisely. They're all applying the throttle, it seems, exactly the same moment, and the gaps between each driver is staying precisely the same. Somebody has got to do something different. Somebody's got to go a bit quicker and start putting some pressure on these drivers, because we want to see some overtakes. If anything, I would say Joel is just edging a little bit further away there. There's a good 3 or 4 meters between himself and Kevin Warner.
Yeah, looks like Warner doesn't quite have an answer to the pace of Joel Argiles, who's out in front. Sam Dixon, though, looks like he's got an answer for the pace of Argiles, but he's got to get past Warner first. So Dixon, who's raced up from Docklands, is trying to fight his way into second place as a time penalty pops up on the screen for Damien Smith. 5-second time penalty. I did say it looked like someone had gone over the red line at the start, and Damien Smith's been pinged 5 seconds for what appears to be a start line infringement.
Okay, brilliant racing. It's still Joel that is holding the lead. Let's see how that lead is going, because it looks like a touch closer than what it was, 0.409. But earlier on in that lap, it was significantly more. There was at least 4 or 5 meters there. So perhaps Kevin Warner has found a little bit more pace. It definitely looks closer here as they go around onto the corner, onto the up ramp. And there's no sign of any defensive driving here. It literally, what's happening is all the drivers, which is pretty much unlike what's gone on in the rest of the day, all drivers are just going flat out. And that's why the gaps between each driver are just staying exactly the same. What we've been used to today is the driver in first place really driving defensively, holding everybody up, and then drivers falling over themselves to try and get through. Also some major contact there on that last lap. None of the leaders, but a bit further down the field, a little bit of contact.
Yeah, we've seen in the opening few races of the meeting that we've had drivers, like you say, defending like mad, and in the last couple of laps, all hell breaks loose. Looks like this is starting to shape up in a similar way. So you got a load of drivers absolutely nose to tail. Aidan Finn there, running in 4th place in the number 4. Looked like he had a half look on the inside of Sam Dixon in the 28. He's got James Dixon-Joel just behind him in the 19, the former champion. Matthew Mandipera just behind him, Darren Wilson and Reese Basley in this lead group. They're being caught by Wesley Carr, who's in P9, and James Troop as well, completing the top 10. But it is still Joel Argiles who is in front. He doesn't have a massive lead, it's just about half a second over Kevin Warner, but it is enough at this point to, if the checker flag were to fall at this point, it would be enough to give him the title.
I'd even say it's close enough to call this an 8-way battle for the lead, because there's virtually the exact amount of space between each drive. Probably a slightly high gap there halfway through that pack, and a slightly higher gap for the lead. But this is close racing. This is tight. This is going to go all the way to the wire, because one little mistake from any of these drivers and they will miss out on a potential podium place.
Yeah, we've seen exactly how good Sam Dixon is in the heats and in the semi-final as well. He just needs to find a way past Kevin Warner. I reckon if he can do that, he could make some inroads into Joel Argiles, and he could potentially get the victory away from him. But it's an old saying in motorsport, catching up is one thing, getting past is quite another, and these guys are proving that is the case, even on a circuit with so many overtaking opportunities, as such as this beautiful circuit that we're racing around today.
Yeah, and once again, another lap down. We are 7 laps in, and the gap now 0.5 a second. That's probably the highest I think that the gap has been. But then they come down at the end of the straight, and it just looks like it's slightly closed again. So it is literally almost a fastest lap competition between us, a sheer consistency competition between the top 5 or 6 drivers. That's what's going on here. The gaps are slightly getting smaller, slightly getting bigger, but any mistake of any of these drivers, and the only way is backwards.
Yeah, it looks like there's a bit of change over 4th position there. Aidan Finn dropping behind James Joel Dixon as he now tries, James Dixon-Joel, as he now tries to get past Sam Dixon, who is holding on to the final podium paying position. Also looks like Wilson and Basley have dropped off the back of Mandipera, who's running in 6th place at the moment. Basley still holds the fastest lap, one of the only drivers in this race to get under the 101 bracket. 60.727, the fastest lap at the moment.
And the lead has definitely increased now. And literally now we do have some racing, and now what's happening here is that driver number 1, Kevin Warner, is having to defend. He's suddenly lost a little bit of pace, and suddenly he's got 28 Sam Dixon all over him. He's having to defend. Oh, look at this, 28 and 4, absolutely side by side. Nobody is giving an absolute inch. And all this is playing into the hands of Joel Argiles, who is now, I would say, clear in the lead. 1.3 seconds. That is the fine margins that we're in. As soon as you start defending, the lap times disappear.
Also looks like we've got a driver in the pits. Looks like an early retirement for one of them. I believe that is the 17 of Darren Stables. Yes, it is. Just confirmation there. He's dropped in the pit lane, just showing exactly how tough this circuit can be. But Joel Argiles, he now has a comfortable lead over Kevin Warner. Warner going really defensive against Dixon. He knows that the Docklands driver is going to try and throw a move into that quicker section at the top of the circuit. But that kerfuffle towards the back of that leading pack has meant meant that it's now the 3 karts fighting over second place with quite a bit of breathing room.
Yeah, and suddenly there are karts that are, there's a little bit of contact there, being 28 and 28 and 19 there. James Dixon Joel, he's up in 4th position. Can you imagine if James Dixon Joel got a podium out of this? Because he has been up and down on the leaderboard all night, and to finish on a podium, that would be terrific.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what, it doesn't matter how you get through to the final, it just matters where you finish it at the end of the day. And if you can snag a podium after having some interesting results throughout the race, then it just makes it even sweeter. But standing in his way is Sam Dixon, the driver from Docklands who won his semi-final, currently running in 3rd place. And it's going to be a tough ask for James Dixon Joel to get past him. Kevin Warner as well, though. You've got to think he's the cork in a bottle at this point. Dixon, I reckon, could go so much quicker. He just needs to get past that #1 driver.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are now really in the closing stages of this race. We are just over 3 minutes to go to the end of the race here. This is, oh, it is a move.
There's the move, it's been done.
Yes, look at that. We didn't quite see the end of it, but we, yes, and James Dixon Joel, what a good news story. Not for Sam Dixon, obviously, he's just gone down into 4th place, but James Dixon Joel goes into a podium position with a brilliant overtaking manoeuvre.
He's done it at the right sort of time. You want to get into those positions as late as you can, so you have to defend for as little time as possible. But you can see that Kevin Warner has got a bit more of a gap as they head onto the flyover. But now he's got the position, James Dixon Joel. Now he has to defend from Sam Dixon for around about 3 minutes. I reckon we've probably got 2 or 3 laps left of this circuit to go.
Yeah, I think a couple of laps definitely, Tom. You know, it's not over yet. It's definitely not over yet. And here they come once again. Look how close literally after 13 minutes of racing, look how close the field is. Absolutely stunning, consistent racing. All I would say, though, is Joel Aguiles he's taken his opportunity and he has just cleared out of town. He has now got a 2.5 second, and now it's 3.1. So literally, he pulls another 0.6 seconds over the last lap, and surely it is job done for the driver of kart number 10, Joel Aguiles. Surely.
It's almost like he's found another gear. It's almost like he's found another gear in that kart. He's going so much quicker. We haven't seen a gap like this in this field for a very long time. But Kevin Warner, again, I reckon if the guys behind could maybe clear him, then they could have a chance. But with 2 minutes on the clock, we are getting towards the final laps. Joel heads on to the bottom section of the circuit. We're watching our flagman on the start line. He's not picked up his checker flag, so I believe we're going to be heading on to the final lap. A little bit of a touch up at turn 1. That is the fight over second place. The 19 of James Dixon Joel and Sam Dixon in the 28 coming together as they head over the line and head onto the final tour of this 1,000-meter circuit. There's 3 drivers there fighting for a podium. There's only 2 steps left, and they've got 1,000 meters to sort it out amongst themselves.
And I'd say, James Dixon Joel, do not blow it now, because that kind of thing could lead to a penalty. And even at this late stage, that could cost you your spot on the podium that, I'll be honest, you've really earned. You've really earned it all night. You've had a little bit of bad luck tonight, but you've just shrugged it off and kept on driving. And at the moment, you are 3rd in the race, and you are looking at a podium position, and we are still looking at the flagman to see if there is a checkered flag. There is a checkered flag. This is going to be the last lap. Joel Aguiles, basically on the final lap, comes around the final few corners and heads down underneath the Dunlop Bridge and wins the national final of the British Indoor Karting Championship Heavyweight Division.
You can see how much that means to him. He's punching the air as he crosses the line. Your champion for 2020. The number 10, Joel Aguiles. He's celebrating to the camera. You can see how much it means to him. 2nd place, a fantastic result for Kevin Warner, and a driver who's been up and down over the course of the day. James Dixon Joel gets on the podium.
Just brilliant racing, Tom. Absolutely brilliant top draw racing, and a real worthy winner. Didn't start in pole position, but made a fabulous start. kept it in the lead, and then the consistency of the lap times. Every single lap was just there a little bit quicker than everybody else, about a 10th. And then suddenly, Kevin Warner just slowed up a little bit, had to defend, and that was it. He was gone, and the lead at the end was a massive 5 seconds to win, which is, I think, the biggest lead we've seen all day.
Yeah, it's definitely the biggest winning margin of any of the finals we've had over the course of the day. It was such a fantastic race. It's almost upsetting that this is the end of the racing for day number 1. Fancy doing the same again tomorrow?
I think, why not just do the same thing tomorrow, Tom? That's what I'm thinking. But instead of adults, right, why don't we get the cadets and the juniors and the rising stars to do it?
I like that idea, because the juniors, the cadets, that's going to be some fantastic racing. We've got some really quick rising stars out on the paddock as well. Lex, you were stood in the comms box watching that one. What do you think of what you just saw?
Unbelievable. I'm literally knackered just watching the just that then. But yeah, amazing for Joel. Like, you could see his celebrations there. He was absolutely elated with that, but they all done fantastic, you know what I mean? But yeah, what a day. What an absolute day of racing.
I know, I think we've been racing for nearly 13 or 14 hours now. We've run 4 different classes. Yeah. I'm absolutely shattered, but I'm assuming the guys on circuit, they're going to be feeling it even more than we are.
Yeah, of course they are, and they've all came from so far away as well, most of them. And you know, hats off to them all. I bet you taking the helmet off right now is the best feeling in the world.
Oh, I bet it is. They'll walk outside, they'll feel that breeze, and it'll just be like a completely different time for them.
Absolutely. And you were mentioning the cadets, juniors, and rising stars tomorrow. We're going to be live from 10:30 on the same YouTube channel, Team Sport, and on BIKC official on Facebook as well.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. If anyone who hasn't seen cadet racing, I implore you to come and watch it, because you will not be disappointed. It is some of the best racing you're going to see over the course of the entire championship. But the podium is being prepared for our super heavyweights, and I believe we're going to hand some trophies out in the next few minutes. But congratulations to Joel Argiles, Kevin Warner, James Dixon-Joel, the podium sitters for the final event of the day in the BIKC 2020 National Final here at Team Sport Indoor Karting in Warrington.
So once again, it's worth mentioning and giving a massive round of applause for the marshals and the race directors and everyone else behind the scenes, the mechanics and everything to get this going today. The guys in this box as well. People, the comments for you guys on the commentary has been phenomenal, by the way, Tom.
Yeah, there seems to be quite a bit of support behind what we've been doing, and I think I saw at one point it was like 8,000 or 9,000 hits over the course of the day. That's quite a few people that we've seen over the course of the day. As you can see, the podium now being set up, but the bubbly being thrown onto the podium.
There's James Hislop. We interviewed him earlier, race director, getting the bubbly ready. I'm sure he wouldn't mind a glass of that himself right now as well.
Yeah, possibly out of the entire thing, one of the hardest jobs being clerk of the course, because at the end of the day, he's the one who has to make all the tough decisions. When you see all the penalties popping up, at the end of the day, it's him who's got to make the call.
Absolutely, it is, and you know, it takes a cool head to do that, and he gets it, deals with it, and it's phenomenal. But they look about ready down there.
Yeah, I think they're just missing some trophies and some caps. I believe they're going to pop them up, and then I believe we're going to have our resident MC Rabley introduce everyone onto the podium.
He loves it, Rabley, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He does love it.
Absolute showman.
He's a proper showman. He loves the showmanship. And
he should have been in like Broadway. I reckon if he hadn't have done this, he'd have been in like Wicked or something.
I think that's why we let him have the mic for the commentary, just so he can let himself go on the on the mic. He has been described as the Murray Walker of team sports, in the sense that he commentates with like his pants are on fire. No, he does. You're absolutely right. Someone's showing me something in the window. Big shout out to the Preston track. Thank you, Matt, for that. Shout out to everybody else watching as well. We've been on in the fuel bars for most of our tracks all day, which is it's great to see. It's not only just from the drivers, but also from the crews around Team Sport. It's not just this isn't just a normal event that we run. There's quite a lot of people who are actually invested in the results and want to see the drivers that have qualified do extremely well. I know when the regionals were running, we had the live timing up in the pit lane. We were watching exactly what was going on at Nottingham to try and figure out exactly who we'd have coming back for the finals. But it looks like the podium is pretty much set up. So I think it's time to hand over to MC Rabley for the final podium of the day.
I knew that was going to happen, Tom. I knew that.
And he's still gassing.
We'll give it a go. Mabley, are you with us? The floor is yours if you are. No, never mind. What have you eaten today, Tom? You have some pizzas? I just had.
Oh yeah. Team Sport pizzas are chicken and bacon. God, that's top tier.
They are the way, aren't they?
I think we'll see if we can get some communications between ourselves and Rabley. We'll see if the International Space Station can pick them up.
Yeah, I think you're right. We're just about there. We can see his hand. If you can figure out what he's trying to say, if you know sign language, then let us know. Hand language. Why did I say that?
Oh, man. Can't half tell this is, we've been doing this for a while now. I think we've been live nearly 13 or 14 hours at this point.
We were filming that track walk at
7 a.m. this morning. We filmed that.
Yeah.
7 a.m. this morning. We were live at half 8. Yeah. So yeah, we've been live for a while now.
I'm back at it again.
Yeah, 10. Back at it from half 10. Back at it from half 10 tomorrow for the under 18s. And honestly, I'm looking forward to it.
I am, to be honest with you. We've got Dom Gaynor with us as well, which should be some fun. Team Sports CEO. I'm going to try and cut what Russ said to show him.
I think we might have to. We might just have to dob him in just to see what happens.
But anyway, let's try it for a second time, Tom. Down to trackside for Russ. Stage is yours, mate. Okay, we'll try it one more time. Russ Mabley, calling Russ Mabley. Come in, Russ Mabley.
I can hear you, but we do have, I think, a bit of a protest at the moment.
Took you long enough.
Yeah, there's a protest.
We're just sorting out the protest, I believe, Tom.
Ah, okay.
I don't know who's protesting. I think it's James. Okay, we're still just reviewing a bit of footage. Okay, so that is why there is a little bit of delay.
Wait, so is it being delayed because of the protest?
It's probably Diana just making a podium. Not a good protest. I genuinely can't believe how the story has worked. You what? I genuinely can't believe how that story came to work. This is out of the final. This is out of the final. One guy doesn't turn up. He turns up. He runs the pick to win the final. And then he goes in and starts picking up all about that.
Do you know what, Joel and the team here have done an amazing job today. I feel like that's a good way of filling time because they're just all looking at us. So we thought, well, you know what perfect opportunity. Is there no camera we can turn around to show you these guys right now?
Well, we probably could, but all the camera operators are currently sat in here as well.
True. Yeah, we kind of need them to do that.
We could probably turn a camera around. We'll just give us a sec. We'll run out into the straight and we'll just commandeer the one that's out there for the podium.
I'll rob one tomorrow. We'll show you. Yeah. We'll rate each one of them.
But yeah, on a serious note, the actual effort that goes into the behind the scenes of a stream like this, having never seen anything like this before, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah,
so
it's mind-blowing. I don't think Team Sport have ever seen anything like this before. It's really cool.
No, to be fair as well, even as far as I'm aware, the original plan wasn't to go for a live stream. Which honestly,
that was Joel's idea.
After what we've seen today, if it wasn't live stream, I think I'd have thought I'd have been criminal.
Well, you know, until a week ago, Tom, I thought we were just filming it. And then
A bit like our
I've got an idea.
fantastic track walk at 7 a.m. this morning.
Yeah, it's his fault. Look.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, gather round. The appeal has been heard, but it does not affect the top three, so we are going to crack straight on. Everybody gather round who's left here, because we have got the presentation. Now, before we get there, I just want to say on behalf of, in fact, let's get it right. I just want to make a few introductions. I've got Will here, Will 2 from Club 100, everybody, who's going to talk to you in a minute about the prizes that the drivers here have won. But first of all, just to say, from behalf of Team Sport, just really thank you very much for supporting us. It's been such a crazy championship with lockdown. I can't believe it's June 2021 and we're still racing in the 2020 championship. Thank you for everybody's patience. We hope we got there and we delivered the correct result at the end. So just thank you very much. And with that, I'm going to hand you over to Will, who's going to talk about Motorsport UK and Club 100.
Cool. Thank you, Russell. Yeah, it was a really good race. Well done. It was really fun to watch. I want to say a couple of things. First of all, a big, big thank you to Team Sport, Russell, James, Steve, Chris, and everyone who has made this event really special and fun as well. I hope you've all enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed watching it. Secondly, Motorsport UK, the UK governing body, they finally backed indoor karting and recognised it for the sport that it is, which I'm sure you all agree. They left a little bit early today, so I just want to thank them for bringing this all together and also inviting Club 100 to sponsor the prizes of today's British Indoor Karting Championship. So, yes, the third place is going to get a test day. The second place is going to get a test day and one round in the super heavyweight sprint class. And the winner will get the remaining 8 rounds of the super heavyweight sprint championship in 2021. But I'm going to hand it back to Russell.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, we're going to have to get this done quickly before we get run over, I think. Right, here we go. So we are going to get straight on with the top 3. What an epic final. What a race. Absolutely consistent top line driving all the way through. But there's got to be some winners, and in third place, what a night he's had. He's been up, he's been down, he finishes third. It is James Dixon Joe! Brilliant stuff. Right then, in second position, the runner-up spot and a really nice prize goes to the one, the only, Kevin Warner! But this driver, it was so tight. He qualified second on the grid. He made a brilliant start. He went into the lead. He held on to that lead and then eventually extended it to win by over 5 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the British Indoor Karting Champion of 2020. It is the one, the only, Joel Aguilas! Whoop, whoop. Now, here we go. We're just going to have a few photographs for the press. This will be on the front page of the Sun tomorrow morning, so make sure you pick up the paper. Just hang on, guys. Just watch, look for the camera, just for the press. Thumbs up. You haven't got any energy yet. Any energy, no energy left. Right, fantastic. Now, there is only one thing left to do. There are 3 bottles of champagne there. They are armed, they are loaded, and gentlemen, it is over to you. Here we go, the champagne. Fantastic. Right then, ladies and gentlemen, all that's left for me to say, in fact, I do have a bit more to say, actually, and I just want to thank a few people all day today, the marshals, for staff have been absolutely fantastic. Can you all just put your hands together and just a huge thank you for all the staff that have just been absolutely brilliant. I also want to highlight James today. I haven't done it all day. James Hislop, the clerk of the course, ladies and gentlemen. An absolutely stunning, stunning job. But as I said, thank you so much for supporting us. Please, we'll see you all soon. And one last thought. BIKC 2021. It's coming very, very soon. Thank you very much, and good night.
What more can we say, guys? Tom, what a day. Where do we start?
It's been utterly fantastic the entire way through. We kicked off strongly with the featherweights this morning.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, we've got 4 very worthy champions. And the great thing is, we've got it all to do again tomorrow. Tomorrow with the juniors, cadets, and the Rising Stars.
It is going to be amazing. Now, just going back to what we've just seen, that was another example of a race where a small mistake, small error just sort of changed everything once again. Yeah, it was to start off, it was a very different race to what we've seen over the last 3 categories. This time, instead of the driver who was out in front defending for all he was worth, Joel just got his head down. He just got himself out in front and just pushed forward. Yeah. But yeah, there was a small mistake, and it did affect the results for second and third. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah, we're hoping, obviously, again, to get the top 3 drivers up here. As soon as they finish the photo sessions and stuff like that, we'll have a little chat with them just before we go.
I just want to say, just before we sort of get them in here and everything, your work with Russ today commentating is amazing. And I'm actually considering hiring you to commentate my life. You know the way, like just walk around. It makes me feel like
just follow you around.
That stream won't have gone on as long as this one.
No,
or reached 16,000 people. By the way, was a thing. So thank you to everyone for watching today.
Yeah, the amount of people that have been interacting with the stream, and just even the love and support that's been shown for the drivers that are out there. It's fantastic, and to know that we've been effectively live in the majority of team sports sites around the country. That's quite a nice thing to see.
Yeah, it has. It's been awesome. Very daunting, but awesome. I mean,
very daunting to know that your colleagues are watching you, but at the same time, we've had good fun doing it, and makes it easy when you've got great racing to watch.
I'm going to try and get like a little behind-the-scenes thing or something tomorrow, just so you can see what it's like downstairs and the chaos that Joel and the team are doing is just incredible.
The guys downstairs, like the cables. Like honestly, I wouldn't know how to keep track of all of this. It's just insane.
And he's in my ear all the time. And he's keeping me going, keeping me supported.
Is he talking to you now?
He's not talking to me now.
Oh, okay.
I wish he was.
If he was, he'd probably just say yes. Just stretch it out.
You've started him now.
All right. Is he off now?
Yeah. No.
Yeah, he's off all one.
So Tom, what was your highlight today? Really, what stood out for you?
Honestly, that lightweight final.
Yeah.
It's got to have been it's one of the best races I've seen for a very long time. The amount of drivers that could have won that, and a very worthy champion in the end in the form of Sam Slater.
Yeah.
And I'm really just looking forward now to going racing tomorrow.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. Before we tell you more about that,
so we've got some drivers and trophies.
Here's everybody, the drivers and the trophies. Let's have you over here. Bring your trophies with you guys as well. We'll have a little chat.
I think this track's taking it out with quite a lot of the guys out there.
Yeah, it has. Are we getting drivers, or are they just going to stay there?
I think they're just going to have a sit down.
That's fine. That's fine. Oh no, they're coming over.
Oh no, there we go.
Yeah, let's have the drivers over.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
We'll keep it quick because we know you want to sit down and chill after.
Don't worry.
That sort of incredible sort of performance going on out there.
Unbelievable, unbelievable. Do you want to come in, guys?
Come in, guys.
Come on in,
guys. Drop in.
Just around this X on the floor there will be great. How you feeling?
Dead.
Dead.
Absolutely dead. Couldn't have done none of that.
Cop over that for us, boss. There we go.
Yeah. You seem to be pushing really hard there.
Yeah, it was such fun, but my friend here was gone. I kept with him for a couple of laps, and then he stopped defending and started driving perfectly. And then I thought, do I need to defend? Do I? Yeah, a little bit. But it was clean. He gave me a few nudges, but absolutely fair and everything. So congratulations to the winner, and thank you all for putting on such a great show. And it's been
thank you.
It's been spiritual.
Good. I'm glad.
To be fair, at the end of the day, you guys having fantastic racing out there. It gives us something to show off. But just one quick question, Joel. At what point, you ran a very different race than what we've seen the majority of the finals so far. Quite a lot of the time, the leader has just defended for all they're worth, whereas you got your head down and you just started pulling out a gap. At what point did you realise you didn't need to defend? You could just go and get the positions.
Well, I mean, you look behind you and there's not really a cart. You can't hear a cart. You know, you take the corners a bit wider. You still can't see anyone. You know, they're a bit further back, so you just make the most of it. Just get the quick as you can laps in, really, because I mean I wasn't exactly the fastest out there, I don't think. I mean, but if you're first and the rest are battling or they're behind, or you know you're kind of off, aren't you? So.
Yeah, honestly it was a great race. It was a great race to watch, and yeah.
Yeah, I loved your celebrations to the camera, by the way, as well.
Yeah, it looked like it meant a lot.
Yeah.
It's nice to win. Obviously, I've done this for a couple of years now with kart champs, as it was before. It's nice to see it, you know, big with Motorsport UK and everything. So it's crazy to be here. Tried before last year. I was sort of trying to get on the podium, and I messed up basically. I made a bit of a mistake, just pushing too hard, got stuck. So that kind of ended my race. So it's good to be here. That's up.
Awesome. Now, what's next for you guys then? Are you going to carry on with this, the opportunity that you've been given now?
Well, after the first race, and I was backwards in the barrier, I didn't realise I would get this on the podium at the end of it all, but I don't know really. Maybe have a go at my dad's rally car if you let me.
Yeah.
now you can say you've finished third in a British Championship. You've sort of got a way in there now.
No.
At least he's grounded, eh?
Definitely not.
Listen, guys, thank you very much. Go and chill out now and go and enjoy your celebrations and stuff like that.
Good work, guys.
Well done.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers. Let's bring Russ back in. The legend that is.
The man, the myth.
Do you know what? I think he's going viral. I think you are going viral, Russ.
See,
how are we doing, guys? A good day? A great day?
Yeah, good day.
The amount of support for you guys on stream today, and just from everyone saying how amazing. How's the voices holding up? I mean,
I'm okay at the moment. I'm getting there. Like I say, if you ask me this time tomorrow, it probably won't be the same.
Yeah. But I thought you were just wobbling a little bit at the end there.
Yeah.
I thought I had a little bit more left. I thought I might have to take over, but you held it together brilliantly, Tom.
Yeah, he's done incredible. 16,000 people we reached today, which is
just
phenomenal.
A few.
Yeah.
Just a couple of people watching us.
That's just Lex's friend circle.
Yeah. And most of them
just
are
the people he shared the link with yesterday.
I'm going to ask you the same thing I asked Tom. Your highlight for today, Russ?
Just four very, very different finals is what I would say, and just a different type of racing. The first final we did this morning, we had clear favourites, didn't we? We had a couple of drivers which really all the way through we knew it was going to be an absolute shootout between those two drivers, and boy, did we get what we absolutely wanted. And then the second final and the third final was really more about strategy, more about tactics, and that gave us great racing, and that gave us change. As soon as drivers started to drive defensively, it meant that the field really closed up, and then we really had some exciting action on our hands. The final event tonight just was completely different. In fact, the drivers who went out there, they didn't think about strategy. They just drove as hard and as fast as they could. So literally, the whole race was just deadlocked every single lap. And then suddenly, one of the drivers just lost a little bit of pace because it's hard work out there. Yeah. A 15-minute final. After all of the practice and the heats and the semi-final, it really is a lot. It's a tough drive, this circuit. And then, as soon as that happened, that enabled the leader to just stretch his legs, get away, take the win. Just different racing all day, but fantastic racing.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you guys for amazing
brilliant
commentary. It's been
and we've got to do it all again tomorrow.
All again tomorrow, indeed. Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow at 10:30 on the same channels, Team Sport on YouTube, British Indoor Karting Championship on Facebook. 10:30 for juniors, cadets and rising stars. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you guys.